Welcome back, everybody. NFL Week 17. Let's discuss it. We had a great week last week. If only those Seahawks didn't get upset. For whatever reason, Russell Wilson can't win at home against the Cardinals, but try to continue with what we did last week. So, final week of the season. I noticed something that I want to point out just right off the bat. If Harbaugh, the Ravens coach, wins this week, and he wins his 3 games in the playoffs, he would win the Super Bowl and have 131 wins. And again, we know about that number in Super Bowls. The word Super Bowl's 131. The word championships 131. We talked about how if Sean Payton wins this week, he'll get his 131st win in the regular season, which would be a good sign that the Saints are Super Bowl bound. So they got to win their game at the Panthers. And speaking of those numbers, one of the top news stories right now is the death of a young woman. She was a sports announcer. She worked down in Louisiana. Her father's a coordinator for the LSU Tigers. Her plane has just crashed before the game. Mainstream media is showing her with this photo with the Saints shirt on. What I noticed right away about her name, Carly McCord, in the most Pierce cipher, it sums to 57, that championship number. Again, when you write out 57 as a word, it equals 131 like Super Bowl and championship. And again, we've been tracking stories like this since before this season even began with the Saints. There's been quite a few people who've died this year throughout the season with Saints connections. So, anyhow, let's get on with the NFL Week 17 Decode. And I hope we're coming through okay. This is the first time I've ever streamed this way. I went out of town for a few days to visit my family down in Portland, and I got back and my internet connection didn't work. And I just got back yesterday. And so I called the internet company. They said for whatever reason, there's no signal going to your house. So they said the earliest they can get a technician out is Monday. And so anyway, what I did is I upgraded my cell phone service, so now I have a hotspot, so I'm streaming this through my cell phone. I've never done this before. Hopefully it's okay. So if anybody wants to call in and give me some feedback, or let me just even check in with the chat. We only got 2 people in the chat. I don't see a lot of communication going on in the chat. So I'll check in the chat. I'm hoping we're streaming okay. You guys can hear me. And that said, let's get into it. So, coming into the week, home teams are 125, 114, and 1. You might recall the last loss was the Minnesota Vikings. They picked up their the Vikings lost at home, giving home teams the 114th loss of the season. Minneapolis, Minnesota, 114. We like the Packers in that one. And by the Vikings losing, home teams fell to 9-8 on Monday Night Football. The only primetime game left is the Seahawks. Home teams right now are 9-7 on Sunday Night Football. If Seattle won, they would be 10-7, and Seattle equals 107. So that could be a good sign for the Seahawks. Again, Wilson can get that 49th home win as well over the 49ers. If Jimmy G lost, he would be 20-6 as a starter, 206. That's the Seattle area code, 206. And if the Seahawks did win, it would be the 28th win on primetime. And Seattle has that 28 connection as well. So, the game with the most on it is the 49ers-Seahawks game. And for the Saints to be the top seed in the NFC, which I would like to see happen, the 49ers will need to lose to the Seahawks, and the Lions will need to upset the Packers. So those are all potential scenarios that could play out. Saints win, Seahawks win, and Detroit upsets the Packers. We talked about how that could make sense because the quarterback for the Lions is pretty good. He hasn't gotten his first win yet. He went to Purdue like Drew Brees. Could be a little Drew Brees tribute with the Lions upsetting the Packers. In the NFC East, the Cowboys look like they will definitely win their game. I'd be shocked if the Cowboys lost this weekend. They have good numbers to win. Here, let me check this text message that just came in case it's somebody who wants to let me know how the live feed's coming through. What's this about? Okay, how do I get rid of this? Ah! Hold up. All right, there we go. The stream is good. Okay, thank you. Apparently my iPhone updated too and couldn't get off some how-to message. Okay, glad the stream's good. Okay, so I fully expect that the Cowboys will win, and there's a bunch of reasons why when we get to that. It looks like Washington's as dead as a team can be in terms of number riddles. I've been talking about the Eagles winning out, and I caught something though with the Giants. The Giants have a potential upset narrative to beat the Eagles. We'll get to that. The Eagles have a good narrative, and the Giants have a halfway decent one. The thing that's going against the Eagles is Wentz can get his 25th loss, and we know how much that number plays with the Giants. Giants 25. So that concerns me a little bit. For the wild card games, the only way the Raiders get in is if the Steelers lose to the Ravens. And again, if Harbaugh wins, he will be set up to win the Super Bowl. If Harbaugh wins this game, again, he'll win 3 more in the playoffs and get that 131st win, the big Super Bowl number. Don't forget the Super Bowl's on Lamar Jackson's 27th day of his age. Miami equals 27. If the AFC wins, it'll be 27-27. Another story in sports today, Marcus Peters got a $42 million contract. We know about that number, right? $42 million. And I noticed that today was 353 days after his birthday. This happened today. That's the 71st prime. Remember, African Americans 71. 71, 42. These numbers coded on Black history. The other number coded on Black history is 59. Today has 59 date numerology. Remember how the Ravens won with 59 points in Miami in week 1 to start the season. So, again, year of the black quarterback. Baltimore, Atlanta, the 2 blackest cities in the nation. Obviously, Atlanta has no chance. So, again, I just think more and more things keep pointing to Baltimore week after week. The only other team I could see it being in the AFC at this point is the Chiefs, just because they got the other young black quarterback. Somebody out there is probably thinking, well, what about the Patriots? Okay, if I could think of another team, yeah, it would be the Patriots sneaking in again with Tom Brady at age 42, kind of like how Bill Clinton was the first black president. They said he was number 42. But I don't think anybody thinks of Tom Brady being black. He's about as slow and non-agile as a person can be. So, anyway. I think the year of the black quarterback, which ESPN told us on September 3rd, was the riddle. Can African American also equals 100th NFL season? Okay, so can the Raiders sneak in is the question here. It would take the Ravens beating the Steelers, the Texans beating the Titans, and the Raiders beating the Broncos. And I'll tell you just off the top what can go wrong with all these games for the Raiders sneaking in. If the Steelers win, Harbaugh will get his 81st loss. Pittsburgh Steelers equals 81. If Tomlin loses, though, he'll get his 81st loss, and that could be a symbolic way for his season to end. Getting the 81st loss as the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So whichever coach loses is getting 81. But again, Harbaugh wins this one, he is set up to win the Super Bowl. And that's what I want to see happen, because that's the narrative I've been leaning on. The Titans and the Texans. For my man Frank out there, I'm sorry I saw your text message late. If you can wait until week 17's over. Somebody wanted me to give him 3 scenarios to bet on the Super Bowl this week. I think by the conclusion of the games, we're probably going to be able to nail the Super Bowl before the playoffs start. So I think we might have already done it, but again, Saints win, Ravens win. I think that's the one. So, anyway. The Titans and Texans. The Texans, if they lose, they will be 10-6 for the season, and Tennessee is 106. And remember, Titans got that 54 connection too. We just saw the recent death of the head coach from the football team that the movie was made about. Remember the Titans? Tennessee Titans 54. They would make sense to be part of the playoff picture. Seems that when the Bills are in the playoffs, so are the Titans in recent times. And we know the Bills are already in. And then the Raiders and Broncos, what could go wrong just alone in that game is Drew Lock. If he wins, he'll be 4-1 as a starter. Oakland's 41, Lock's 41. Then again, if he loses, he'd be 3-2. Denver's 32, Broncos is 32. But the Raiders would get a big bone if all of these games worked out for them so that they could slip into the playoffs. Actually, you know what? When I was explaining how the... oh, no, never mind. I said it right. Okay. Chargers at Chiefs. Again, we've been talking about the Chiefs finishing the year 5-3 at home since I think they were 3-3. That was probably 4 or 5 weeks ago, just because Los Angeles is 53. I don't think that game's going to go sideways. This is just the quick introduction. We'll go into these games and more analysis. Dolphins and Patriots, we talked about why it made so much sense for Brady to win his last 2 games at home, getting his 122nd win at home and his 220th win in the regular season. National Football League's 122 and 220. I'm hoping that's going to be it. I'm hoping this will be his last year and he finishes with those wins in the regular season. Symbolic. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but either way, I think he finishes the year with those numbers. Saints and Panthers, I fully expect Peyton to get his 131st win in the regular season. If he doesn't, I'm going to have to really consider who it could be in the NFC, if not the Saints. We know a couple teams, but I think he will get that 131st win. Packers and Lions, again, this to me, this is the, if you want to take a shot at an upset this week, this is the one to do it. Lions would be a nice big payout. If there's a group of games you really like and you just want to put some small money down on the Lions upsetting, again, a parlay with the Lions, a few dollars could turn into a lot of dollars. But I think this could be where the upset is. Again, Rodgers loses. He gets his 61st loss. Detroit Lions is 61. So I think there's a real chance at an upset there. Keep in mind, if the Packers win, though, they will be the top seed. Well, hold on. I know if the Saints and the Packers won, the Packers would be the top seed. If the 49ers won, though, I think the 49ers would be the top seed, and then the Packers would be 2 and the Saints 3. But I don't think the 49ers are going to win. There's quite a few things that go against them. And then here's our group of games that have no playoff implications. Falcons and Bucks. Got a nice Tampa Bay riddle in that one. Bears at Vikings. Vikings are benching Cousins. Browns at Bengals. Jets, Bills. Colts, Jaguars. Cardinals, Rams. Okay. So something that stood out to me about Week 17 is it sums to 54. Just like when you write out 100, it equals 54 in the same cipher. It's the 54th Super Bowl upcoming. So where the 54s are on the board this week, that could really play. The 109 shows up in a big way in the Falcons-Bucks game. Tampa Bay Buccaneers is 109. We talked about how Ryan, if he won his last 2 games, he could get his 109th win. There's a 134, I think, in the Seahawks game. There's quite a few 44s they could play this week. 153 is the 17th triangular number. The 63 can actually play in the Bills game. Buffalo equals 63. If the Bills win, they will be 63 and 55 versus the Jets. Let me plug in this Week 17 thing in here too. Okay. Whoops. Close this. Okay. All right, so Bills and Jets, again, there's no playoff implications here. I was trying to see if Allen's playing. It looks like he is. I didn't see that they're resting him, even though it seems like, here, I'll just check it one more time. Josh Allen, or let's see, do it this way. Bills, Week 17, starting QB. Yeah. They did say that Barkley will likely come in the game, but Allen's expected to start. Okay. So that they're not playing for anything. There's nothing riding on the game. What stood out to me, just on the surface level stuff, is that if the Jets lose, they're 1-7 away. It's Week 17. The name Allen is 17. He wears the number 17. So that could be the riddle right there. The Jets falling to 1-7 away is a tribute to the Bills and Allen, who are in the playoffs. If the Bills did win, they would also be 11-5. New York's the 11th state. Battle of the teams from the 11th state, New York. 11's the 5th prime number. They would become 5-3 at home on a 53-date numerology. You could also make an argument for the Jets improving to 2-6 away on the 26-date numerology. That'd be the Jets riddle. But again, Bills can get that 63rd win versus the Jets. Buffalo 63. The game's in Buffalo. Week 17, 63. So that stands out. And let's see. You might recall the Week 1 game. The Jets gave up the 16-0 lead to lose 17-16. Speaking of 17, now they meet again in Week 17. And it really seems like that 17 just shows up a lot with the Bills, especially with Allen. Allen 17 is the quarterback. Bills are 7-4 in the conference, 3-2 in the division. If they lost, they would be 3-3. New York's got that 33 connection. If the Jets lost, they would be 3-9 in the conference. Big New York number 39, the one that plays more than 33. If they won, though, they would be 4-8. New York Jets is 48. That number does show up with the Jets. So, when I look at Allen, though, it makes me think that the Bills are going to win because he can get that 16th win. Again, 53-date numerology, 16th prime. But more importantly, he can get his 9th home win, and Jets equals 9 in the most pure cipher. So I'm thinking that that's the best riddle. Allen gets his 9th win. Bills finish the season strong, go into the playoffs with some momentum. And when you do write out 17, it does equal 44. That is something that could happen to the Bills as well. They could fall to 4-4 at home. Allen also equals 44. But again, Week 17, Jets fall to 1-7 away. I think that's probably the best riddle. Darnold, if he lost, would get his 16th loss on the 53-date, 53 the 16th prime. The Jets coach, Adam Gase, he could get his 7th win with the Jets in Week 17. 17's the 7th prime, so that is something that's there. He could also get his 36th all-time loss, and Buffalo equals 36, so does Bills. So that could make just as much sense. I wouldn't say that this is my favorite game of the week. If you're trying to play it super safe, I'd probably just skip this game, but I'm leaning Bills because of the 63 thing and because of the 17 thing and because Allen can get that 9th win at home over the most appropriate team, the only team that sums to 9, the Jets. So, and again, I'll come through and plug in and do write up my blurb, what team I favor, where the risk is, or if I'm neutral. So definitely not the safest game of the week, but I think the Bills get by the Jets there. Okay, the Browns and the Bengals, Battle of Ohio here. And Ohio is the 17th state. So if the Bengals lose in the Battle of Ohio, they're 1-7 at home. Plus it's Week 17, the 7th prime. They can get the 7th home loss. The Browns can get the 7th win of the season. If the Browns win, they're 3-5 away. Browns is 35. The best scenario for the Bengals to win is the 26-date numerology, because if the Bengals win, they're 2-6 at home, and the Browns are 2-6 away. That's about all I see for the Bengals. The other things have me leaning Browns in this. The Browns' next loss, the Bengals' next win, will be the Bengals' 51st win in the series. Cincinnati's 51. Doesn't mean it has to come in this game. Could come next season. Could come in 5 years. You just don't know. But doesn't have to come. If the Browns won this week, they would get the 17th win at the Bengals all time in Week 17. And again, that would drop the Bengals to 1-7 at home. Again, Ohio is the 17th state. If the Browns win, they are 7-5 in the conference. Again, they get that 7th win. Cincinnati Bengals equals 75. If they lost, they would be 6-6. Cincinnati does equal 66. But I think this 75 plays more with the Bengals. Let me just write this here again just to be redundant. Again, if the 7s are going to play, they all play in favor of the Browns. 7th win, 7th loss for the Bengals, and a 7th win in the conference. So I just thought of some devil's advocate narrative here. If the Bengals won, they'd be 1-5 in the division. Ohio's 47, the 15th prime. I'm not going to put too much weight on that. Mayfield could get his 17th loss in Week 17, or he could stay on 16 on the 53 date. And again, Kitchens, of course, it's his first year, so he can get his 7th win in Week 17. Dalton, he is 68, 65, and 2 all-time. His next loss is 66. That's a Cincinnati number. His next loss at home all-time is 28. Browns is 28. His next win all-time at home is 39. Bengals is 39. So you can make the argument either way there. And again, he is playing the Browns, though. So getting that 28th all-time loss at home against the Browns would make some sense. And if Taylor loses, if the Bengals lose, they'll get their 15th loss of the season. Again, Ohio's 47, the 15th prime. So again, I wouldn't call this one the game of the week either because nothing's riding on it. But I do think the Browns have the slightly better narrative. Again, they have the 17 in their favor. They have the 7s in their favor. Again, 17 and 7, strong prime number pairing. So lean in Browns in that one. Packers and Lions, you know what I'm going to say. This is the game that could be the big payout this weekend. Packers are one of the biggest. Packers actually might be, I think one team's a bigger favorite. Maybe the Patriots are a bigger favorite. But anyway, Packers are the second biggest favorite of the week. And there is a chance they could win. If they win, they're 13-3. Football's 133. We know how the death of Bart Starr was a big narrative before the season began. The first game was perfectly synced up with his death. The Packers are a team in the NFC that could represent the Super Bowl at the beginning of the year. We came up with 3 future parlays. One of them was Packers and Chiefs, which isn't out of the question. If Packers do win this game, they are going to be the top seed, so they have a lot to play for. So, not saying it's for sure that the Packers are going to lose this game, but again, there's reasons to believe that they can. The Lions are 72, 99, and 7 versus the Packers in the regular season. If they lost this game, they would get their 100th loss in the 100th NFL season. If they didn't lose, though, they'd stay on 99. This is the Packers' 99th season as a team. They were established 100 years ago, but it's only their 99th year in the league. So they could stay on the 99. And again, this quarterback for the Lions, he is not a bad player. If anyone watched him play, you probably might have saw him on Thanksgiving. I mean, he has a nice arm. He puts the ball on the spot. So him winning over a good team, it's not out of the question. And Rodgers, if Rodgers loses, he will get his 61st loss in the regular season. Detroit Lions is 61. And he would be 44-44 away. Detroit and Packers are both 44. So, perfect away record. 44 away. Connects to both teams. And narrative's going for Rodgers. If he won, he would be 7-3 at Detroit. Packers equals 73. It's the reflection of 37 Detroit number. He could get his 15th win versus Detroit. Ford Field equals 47, the 15th prime. And the date numerology, that's one thing that could go against the Packers as well. They could fall to 5-3 away on the 53 date, but at the same time, the Lions could also fall to 2-6 at home on the 26th date, so that's even. The way I would personally play the Lions is, I do think that this could be the upset of the week, especially to help out the Saints and Drew Brees, because the Saints are the biggest beneficiaries of the Packers losing. And again, Drew Brees is a Purdue quarterback. The quarterback for the Lions is a Purdue quarterback. Let me think about that real quick. I know the Boilermakers have some 87 connection. What other numbers do they have? Purdue, Boilermakers, the 87. Boilermakers. I'll think about that one more. Okay. But personally, the way I'd play the Lions is I wouldn't put a lot on them, just because, I mean, they're still the Lions. But I'd put together a good parlay and try to work out, a nice multiplier. So, the narrative is there, though. Rodgers is the big key. His numbers say upset. All right, the Chargers and the Chiefs. I'd be surprised if the Chiefs lost this game. Last year when the Chargers beat them in Kansas City, we saw that riddle and why that looked good for the Chargers. It's not the same type of year. The Chiefs are getting their momentum back. Again, they finished 5-3 at home. Los Angeles 53 date. They get their 12th win. Los Angeles 37 the 12th prime. The Chargers fall to 5-11, 11 the 5th prime. The only thing that could really happen for the Chargers in their favor is when you write out 17, it equals 44. They could become 4-4 away. The Chiefs could become 4-4 at home. I really doubt that, though. Mahomes can also get his 12th home win in this game. He can improve to 11-3 at home. K is 11, C is 3, so his home record would be like KC 113, like they got on the helmet. And Andy Reid can get his 79th win. Chargers 79. 79th win with the Chargers, that is all time. And let's see. Well, here, let me just throw up one devil's advocate narrative. LA does equal 41. He could get his 41st loss all time. I'll be surprised. Let's see. Rivers is on 100 regular season losses. So, I mean, it's possible that that would have to be it if he won just to stay on 100 regular season losses. I don't think the Chiefs are going to lose this game, though. If he gets 101, that's the 26th prime, 26th date numerology. Let's see here. Yeah, those were all the main points for that game. So, again, it just makes too much sense for the Chiefs to get that 12th win versus Los Angeles and be 5-3 at home. Finish strong. Let me check something real quick. I think I just remembered something. It was the death of Prince's brother this year in Kansas City. And yeah, it does equal 124. I remember that because he died like on the 124th day of the year, leaving 241 days remaining. Okay, let me just jot it down. I'm just seeing that if Rivers won, he could get his 124th win. Stay on the 100 losses. But yeah, I'm still sticking with Mahomes and co. to Missouri alone's 123 if he stayed on the 123 wins. Yeah, I'm sticking with the thought that I've had. Okay, the Bears and the Vikings. So Cousins isn't playing in this game. Trevor Siemian is. This game has no playoff implications. The Vikings seed can't change. If the Bears did win, they would be 4-4 away. Again, 17 has the 44 connection. Vikings has the 44 connection. Chicago equals 35 and 44. Usually when it comes to that, the 35 plays harder. But they are going against an opponent with a 44 connection in a week that has a 44 connection. So there's a chance they could upset here. If they did win, they would be 8-8. That could be. I wonder how many teams will hit this 8-8 because again, it's 2019 season. 19's the 8th prime number. Final game of 2019. So the 8-8 record could be symbolic this year. If the Vikings win, they will be 7-1 at home. Chicago Bears is 71. We've already seen a number of teams do the 7-1 thing against the Bears. The Chiefs and the Packers. Might have been another as well. But those were in recent weeks, those two. Chicago Bears 71, so that has been hitting. Again, if the Vikings won, they would get that 7th win in Week 17, 17 the 7th prime. They'd keep the Bears on 7 total wins. They would improve to 11-5, 11 the 5th prime number. And if the Vikings won, they would stay on 54 regular season losses in the year of Super Bowl 54. That said, the next loss is 55. Minneapolis is 55. Chicago Bears is 55. And Vikings have lost the last 3 in this series. The Bears have a little winning streak going. The Vikings' next win at home against the Bears is number 38. Minnesota's 38. Trevor Siemian. His name equals 84. The Vikings are 7-4 in the conference. Chance they could improve to 8-4. Then again, Minnesota Vikings. I swear I already had this written down. Minnesota Vikings is 75. Let me just update this real quick. All right, there we go. So, chance to improve to 8-4 or fall to 7-5. Either way could make sense. If the Bears did win, they would become 7-5 in the conference. Again, Minnesota Vikings 75. Again, Week 17, 7th prime. And let's see. Simeon's 13-12, 9-4 at home. Don't need to write all time because he's never played in the playoffs. Zimmer, if he did win in Week 17, he would get his 59th all-time win, the 17th prime. So that does stand out. His next loss in the regular season is 38, that Minnesota number. If he didn't lose, he'd stay on 37. Chicago's 37. Don't forget that U.S. Bank Stadium equals 38 like Minnesota. So this game, it's pretty dicey. Again, once a pattern, you see it hit, it normally keeps hitting. So that's why it's hard to go against the Vikings becoming 7-1 at home in light of Chicago Bears being 71 and again, Week 17, the 7th prime. But the Vikings don't have anything to play for. The Bears are playing for pride. The 8-8 record could be symbolic. So yeah, I was hoping there would be something more clear in Simeon's numbers since he was starting, but I'm not seeing it. 13-12, 9-4 at home. I don't know if I'm missing something, but I don't see the big giveaway. It would make some sense if Zimmer got that 59th win. Again, that is the 17th prime. So, but I'm personally not crazy about that one. Dolphins and Patriots. Again, fully expect the Patriots to win this game. The 7s will hit on both sides. Dolphins will get the 7th away loss. Patriots will get the 7th home win. 17 the 7th prime. And Brady's record, he'll get his 220th win and 122nd home win. Again, National Football League, 220 and 122. Belichick can get his 305th win. The game is 100 on Brady's 149th day of his age, which is the 35th prime. Remember, Tom Brady equals 35. His birth numerology is 35. The word QB is 35. I noticed the over-under in this game was at 44.5. I wouldn't be surprised if the final score of this game is 35-10. 45 points, New England's 45. Again, you have this nice 35 alignment between Belichick getting his 305th win and it being on Brady's 149th day of his age. I think a 35-10 score here could make a ton of sense. Patriots haven't been putting up that many points, right? And if they have a good Week 17, it'll have people being like, oh, maybe the Patriots offense is coming alive just in time. So that's my hunch on the score for this game. I see the 35 playing because that's a huge number with Tom Brady's career. I call 35 the Tom Brady number. And in light of it being, again, his 149th day and Belichick going for the 305th win, I'm thinking that score could make some sense. At least the Patriots scoring 35 is the part that could make the most sense to me. I mean, the score could be a little bit different. They have to cover 15.5-point spread. Winning by 16 on the 53 date could also make some sense. 53, the 16th prime. Caller?
Yep.
Yeah, what's going on?
Still on the Dolphins and Patriots game, right?
Uh-huh.
You know the Dolphins could get their 54th win all time versus the Patriots. And,
No, you got it backwards. You got it all backwards, man. I wrote this stuff down at the beginning of the year. The Dolphins can't get their 54th win. The Patriots can get their 54th win.
Yes, but I'm talking about in the regular season. That Dolphins win, one of those wins are in the playoffs.
Hold on, let me check this out now.
In the regular season,
I'm pretty sure the Dolphins got 54
wins.
wins. I'm pretty sure they got 54.
Yep. Check it.
Here, hold up. I'm checking it right now. Okay, yeah. So the Patriots are 51 and 54 versus the Dolphins in the regular season, and then all time they're 53 and 55. So yeah, the Dolphins already got 54.
Oh, okay. I thought, my bad. I counted that playoff game then wrong.
Yeah, I remember we talked about that at the beginning of the year. How if the Patriots win both, they'll get 54 all time and keep the Dolphins on 54 in the regular season.
Yeah. But all right.
All right. Better move. Okay. Let's see here. Let me just jot this down. Dolphins can pick up 7th away loss. Patriots can pick up 7th home win. Okay, so I will be really surprised if the Patriots lose. I don't think they will. I think, again, the National Football League riddle, the sevens, the 305th win, I think all that's going to happen. Falcons and Bucks, this game has no playoff implications. The way you get the Tampa Bay riddle here is with the Falcons win. They're 7-9. The Bucks fall to 7-9. Tampa Bay's 79. Falcons could become 4-4 away, a little bit symbolic for them. Georgia's 44, like 17. Bucks can fall to 2-6 on the 26th date. And again, the other big one is Matt Ryan. Ryan can get that 109th regular season win. Tampa Bay Buccaneers equals 109. And what is this? Is it 17 or week 17? 17 is also 109. So about the only thing I could see going sideways for Matt Ryan is him becoming 48 and 48 away because Atlanta's 48, but that doesn't have to happen. So I'm going to stick with what I said last week. I had Ryan winning last week for this reason, so he could finish the season this way. So I'm leaning Falcons here. The game is also on Ryan's 227th day of his age. That's the 49th prime. He can get his 49th away win. Could make an argument for him to stay on 49 away wins all time, but again, I like this 109 here. Caller?
Hey, Zach, how you doing tonight?
Doing all right. How are you?
Doing great, thanks. Hey, I was wondering what you think about that Clemson-Ohio State game that's going to go off in about an hour.
Well, I can look at it real quick. I haven't done my homework on it, honestly. So.
Oh.
Yeah, I can check it out, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks.
All right, see you. Caller? Caller?
Oh, yeah. And, Jameis Winston could get his 29th win all time.
Well, I'll have to check it out. I had the Bucks at 14 and 13 versus the Falcons at home. Unless there's a postseason match I didn't get in there.
You said they're wedding at home?
I have the Bucks leading 14 to 13 versus the Falcons.
Yeah, I got 15 to 13.
Okay.
But yeah, and I was going to pick that 16, they can get their 16th win all time, and then they could get their 16th win all time. Oh, damn it. Hold on, so if you said it's 14, I mean I was wrong, so let me go back then.
Here, I'm double checking right now. All right, they've played 27 times there, and so the Falcons have lost 14 times in Tampa and won 13. So I got it on the screen right now so everyone can see it. So this will be
All
the
right, my
28th
bad.
meeting.
Sorry.
All right. All right. So that's strike 2. Come on, man. I know you're trying, but let's make sure we got the information correct if we're going to call in and contradict. Okay. So yeah, it is true though that Winston could get his 29th win on the 29th. Big football number. Then again, look at what loss number he could get. 42, year of the black quarterback. Black quarterback finishes the season with 42 losses. You know, I see the symbolism in that. And again, like I said, I liked Matt Ryan to win last week. He cruised last week to set up this whole scenario right here. He'd stay on 80 regular season losses on the 80 date numerology. So, again, it's a game that doesn't have any playoff implications. But the Falcons can also get that 7th win in Week 17. So it's another reason to believe that they do pick up that 7. They'd keep the Bucks on 7. Okay. Saints at Panthers. Again, I fully expect the Saints to win here so that Peyton gets his 131st win in the regular season. Again, that's the Super Bowl championship number. I think that'll be a great sign for the Saints. If Breeze wins, he'll get his 75th away win. Carolina Panthers is 75. You know what else? He would get his 163rd win in the regular season. That's the 38th prime, and Panthers equals 38. Panthers lost in Super Bowl 38 to the Patriots. So, both of those things would make sense for Breeze. Only thing I could really see going against Breeze is him staying on 170 all-time wins because Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Wait a minute. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Hold on. Did I get all kinds of dyslexic here? Is it Tampa Bay Buccaneers or Carolina Panthers? Yeah. Never mind. He's not even playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't know why I did that. That was weird. Some sort of brain glitch. Hold on. Am I spelling things wrong? Yeah. Okay. So, all right. Let's just totally disregard that. That didn't happen. Things look good here for the Saints. They look pretty good. I'll personally be devastated if they don't win this game because then I'm going to worry about them being the Super Bowl team after been telling you guys all year they're the most likely team to be there. But, and again, for the sevens, the Saints can get that 7th away win, Week 17. So I'll just plug that into Week 17, 7th prime. Saints can get 7th away win. All right. Here, before we move on, I'm just going to pause. Let's look at Clemson, Ohio State real quick. I'm sorry, guys. I meant to do the bowl games. This last week, I ended up spending time with family. My sister's going through a hard time in life. It was her first Christmas alone. She had a divorce this year. Husband took the kids. She'd never been alone the whole time she had a family, so I had to go down and spend time with her. Hold on. We got one more call, and then we'll look at this game. Caller?
Hey, Zach. It's Ron from California. How you doing?
Doing all right. What's up, man?
Well, I'm just calling regarding Sean Payton's win-loss record. Looks like he has 77 losses, and I'm thinking the Saints may win out and face Green Bay in the NFC Championship game because Green Bay equals 77.
That could make a bunch of sense. That could make a lot of sense.
I'm thinking it looks pretty good for the Saints, and also. With the Patriots, seems like every time they have a big-time shaming ritual, they win the championship. It was like that with Deflategate. It was like that with, Deflategate and Robert Kraft, I think, the shaming ritual after the Super Bowl win.
Right.
So,
Spygate.
I'm thinking the Saints-Patriots may get there.
Spygate, Deflategate. Yeah. It's possible. I think it's going to be the Ravens, especially if Harbaugh wins, because then he'll be set up again to get that 131st win in the Super Bowl. But yeah, that's why I wish Tom Brady would have retired this offseason, because he is there. So
I know he's just lingering around. But I see the 41 with Baltimore too. I wouldn't be surprised if they're in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, especially the way Lamar Jackson clinched last week, 42 days before the Super Bowl, and now their defensive star gets the $42 million contract, so...
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and another Patriots. You mentioned this last week with the game. They scored 41 total points with the Patriots-Bills game. So I was thinking that could be a clue too.
Yeah, that is true.
Okay.
All right.
I'll let you go. That's what I got.
All right, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Bye, bro.
All right, let's do it real quick. Clemson football head-to-head. Clemson Tiger bowl record 24-20 in bowl games. All right, hold on. Remember, they had the death of that player that was synced up perfectly with the date of the championship game. Ohio State had that riddle too at the beginning of the year, but it was not synced with the championship game. Okay. They're 3-0. So Clemson's 3-0 versus Ohio State. Well, that stands out right away. If they win today, they're 4-0. So Clemson wins. They're 4-0 versus Ohio State. So that definitely jumps out. What's up, Rod?
Hey, Zach, what's going on?
Hey, man, just trying to stay healthy.
Yeah, good. I've been trying to reach you, man. I was needing a little help on trying to get my live stream up. I got everything. I'm just like one step away, but I believe I got somebody Monday to come help me and look at it. But if not, if the next time you see I'm calling you, if you can, because I think I'm already set up. I just need to get past this one little step.
Yeah, I'll help you out. I didn't realize you needed help. Sorry I missed the calls, man. But, as soon as I'm done with this...
You're good, because it was during the holidays anyway. I actually called you like a day after Christmas, and I think later on Christmas, so I apologize for that. I know you've been busy. But, I just wanted to touch bases with you because I'm ready to fire up my live stream. And another thing, too, I know you're about to start looking at this Clemson game. I had in my notes and stuff today, I think Dabo, he's at 129. And we were just talking about that 131. And if he win these two, he'll get that 131. And like you were just saying, you've been on Clemson the whole year about that death of the player in the beginning of the season.
Right.
Right, and I don't know if you heard, but right before the game, I know you heard, because this is what you do with the news, but you know the plane crash with Clemson player, the Clemson daughter, that you heard about that?
Wait, I heard about the plane crash that involved the woman who's connected to the LSU coordinator. There's one with Clemson.
I mean, that's what I meant. I'm sorry, that's what I meant, LSU.
Right. So, I'm thinking that's probably
LSU had a death with the team, affiliated with the team, and then, like you said, Clemson had one earlier that year.
Right. That is probably the sign that LSU is going to be there. So.
Right, and I believe Clemson, like you said, when you look at Dabo's record, he's at 129. So, like, if you win these next two, it's the perfect 131 to win the championship.
Exactly. Yep. And they already scheduled their parade and everything. That's exactly what's going on here, I think. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right. Yep. That's all I wanted. I know you still at it. One more thing, like I got off like my third day posting. I got off to Christmas. I don't know if you checked the scores, but it was a brutal day on Christmas. It was nothing but dogs. But I was just gonna say, if you can try to if you can look out and if you can join my page and then see if you can critique me, like if I'm doing something wrong, because I know you've been doing it for the last year. I think I'm basically doing everything you did on following your footsteps, but I just maybe you might see something that I'm doing wrong. If you can give me some advice, that's all.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. And Rod, I mean, honestly, man, you're going to do great without my input or not. I mean, you know exactly what you're doing. You've called in and made great calls all year. Everyone knows your voice. I'd encourage everybody to sign up for your Patreon. As soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to call you back and figure out. Did you watch the video I put together on how to set up the live stream?
I did. You was good. It's just I got to this part where you got to do the 5-6 minutes delay. And it's like once I set the time, it won't let me publish it. So it's like that's why I get frozen. If I can go,
okay.
Worst case scenario, if I don't go live on the Patreon Monday, I go live on YouTube, and I just tell everybody to go on YouTube because don't nobody know me on YouTube,
Right. You'll build up your following.
Right.
I'll call you as soon as I'm done, and we'll get this figured out.
Okay. I appreciate it, man. I just wanted to drop you Don't forget Dabo Sweeney. He can get that 131.
I just put that on the screen. Yeah, I'm all over that, and that goes because again, that player that died, his death was perfectly synced with the day of the championship. So, yeah, I think that's what it is. All right, yeah, good.
All right, I'll let you go. Appreciate it, man. Good work, man. I appreciate you everything, man. I swear, man. I can't thank you enough.
All right, well, keep it up, Ron. You're gonna do great. All right, let him in.
I appreciate it.
Okay, so the Ohio State quarterback hasn't lost, or not quarterback, coach hasn't lost yet. He's 16-0. Doesn't mean that he can't lose here. I'm just gonna think about if there's any connection to that. Clemson, Tigers. Oh, on Christmas Day, my sister put me on the spot with the 76ers game, and she said, well, who's going to win this one since you call the games? And I just looked real quick, and it just reminded me about keeping it surface level. I said, well, I see the 76ers are going for their 16th home win, and Milwaukee equals 53, the 16th prime, so I got to go with that. Thank God they won. But anyway, let's see. My sister's my biggest hater. Okay, hold on. But I still had to go hang out with her. She's going through a tough time. All right, let's see. Yeah, I'm taking Clemson here. I'm not even doing the full homework. It's just seeing how Sweeney can, if he wins this game and then he'll be in the championship, get the 131st. And again, we just saw that Clemson can become 3-0 versus Ohio State. And Ohio, or did I say 3-0? I mean 4-0, and Ohio State's 40. So I'm taking Clemson in that one. Just out of curiosity, I got to see what they have the spread at for that game. I'm sure Clemson is the favorite. The Ohio State quarterback got injured too, so that could be part of the narrative. I remember he got his knee buckled in one of those games late in the season, maybe even their last game. Oh God, LSU wasted Oklahoma. I didn't even realize it was underway. But yeah, that just makes sense because that's the way it works, right? The news story, I mean, that's the front page news story today. I bet you it still is. Yeah, the Louisiana plane crash. I mean, it's just so sick how it is, man. So, LSU laying waste to Oklahoma, and Pennsylvania wins with 53 points. Pennsylvania 53. Clemson's only a 2.5-point favorite, huh? All right, so whoever loses is 13-1. Yeah, I gotta ride the Clemson train. I'm trying to remember the name of the Clemson player. It's Dye, D-Y-E. Is that how he spells it? Show you the story real quick. Tyshawn Dye. Okay, so Tyshawn Dye supposedly drowned on July 5th, and hold on. Let me show you what it was here. It was Dabu Sweeney's 228th day of his age. Death is 228. He drowning in Dabu Sweeney about 50. But this is it right here. From the day of the death to the date of the championship game, which, by the way, can be written 13/1, like 131. And we just saw how Sweeney, if he wins today, he'll get his 131st win in the championship game. From the death to the championship is 192 days, and those Clemson Tigers is 192. It's also 75. July 5th can be written 7/5. And it's just like around the day before this, Hawaii. Hawaii had a death on July 4th, and I said this looks like it'll be a special season for Hawaii. Hawaii goes on to win their bowl game over BYU. So Dabu Sweeney also equals 131. We were talking about how the championship. I didn't see back then, though, how if he won out all season, he'd get his 131st win. So I got to ride that narrative. Those are the championship numbers. All right, so that was our college football break. And coming back to the NFL, we just left off with the Falcons-Bucks game. Again, I'm sticking with the thought that Matt Ryan's going to finish the year with 109 wins. Tampa Bay Buccaneers 109, 17-109. Saints, Panthers, I'm taking the Saints. Drew Brees has the riddle to win. Sean Payton's got the riddle to win. Should be the sign that the Saints are the team in the NFC. The Redskins and the Cowboys. Again, I'll be shocked if the Cowboys lose this game. God, they're a huge favorite. I didn't realize they were 11-point favorite, but I guess it makes sense. Again, the main reason I'd be shocked if the Cowboys lost is because the Redskins can pick up their 13th loss of the season, and we know about Dallas in 13. Dallas, the 13 city, they can get their 6th away loss, 13 the 6th prime. And Colt McCoy, who's playing for the Redskins, he can get his 13th away loss in Dallas and his 22nd loss overall. Dallas is 13 and 22. So I fully expect that to happen. Jason Garrett can get his 85th win in the regular season. Washington Redskins is 85. About the only thing that could go against the Cowboys is when you write out 17, it equals 44. They could fall to 4-4 at home. I doubt it. And let's see. Callahan can get his 26th all-time loss on the 26th date. His team can fall to 2-6 away. But Dallas in 13, very reliable. Hard to go against that. The Cowboys can also pick up their 49th win in this stadium. Washington's 49, so is Dallas. Seems like a fitting number to finish the regular season on, 49. Let's see. Now, Raiders at Broncos, I would consider putting together a parlay. I wouldn't bet the house on it, but I would consider putting together a parlay with the Raiders scenario to make the playoffs. Just because if they're in the playoffs, it just improves their marketability. You know, they're moving to a new city next year, Vegas. It is a tourist city. People are always looking for things to do in Vegas. I don't even know if they need to be good to sell tickets. It's the NFL in Vegas. So they could be a bottom dweller and still sell tickets. I mean, good weather, tourists from all over. I think Vegas is the most... the biggest tourist destination, if I'm not mistaken, in the U.S. So, do they need to be good to sell tickets? I mean, it couldn't hurt. It couldn't hurt, right? But okay, there's two things to consider here. One is the lock. Okay, well, I guess the first thing to consider is the Raiders sneaking in the playoffs. And again, for the Raiders to make it, the Ravens have to win and the Texans have to win. So, if you wanted to do a small parlay with the scenario of the Raiders sneaking into the playoffs. That would be the ticket. It's possible. I don't know how much I believe in it myself. I'm not crazy about it, but I could see it happening. So your ticket would have to be Raiders win. It would definitely pay a good amount if it happened. Raiders, Ravens, and Texans. Those three teams all have to win for the Raiders to get in the playoffs. Raiders, Ravens, Texans. That's the only way the Raiders get in. And again, I just feel like the Titans are going to be a part of the playoff picture just because they have that 54 connection. So, I mean, I could be wrong about that, but this is what I keep thinking. So anyway, hold on. We got a call here. Caller?
What's up, Zach? How are you?
Doing all right, man. What's going on?
Good, man. So the Colts got to win, too, for the Raiders to get in there.
Is that right?
Yeah. Suns kind of strength of schedule, and then they get in over the Steelers. So the Colts got to win. And then the Raiders need either New England, Chicago.
I don't think you're right about the Colts. They're in the category of teams that have no playoff implications this week.
No, Zach, trust me, brother. The Colts got to beat the Jaguars for the Raiders to get in there.
Actually, you're right. It does say can affect the playoff tiebreaker. Okay, so the Colts have to win too. Okay.
And it gets better. Hold on. It gets even better. If I read correctly, then the Raiders need either the Patriots, the Bears, the Lions, or there's one more team. I want to say the Chiefs, but I don't remember it. To win. They need one of those 4 teams to win.
Why the Bears? They're in the other conference.
I know. I have no clue. But according to ESPN, that's what it is.
Oh, well, okay. The thing I have here shows that Ravens have to win, Texans have to win, Raiders have to win, and yeah, you are right. The Colts have to beat the Jaguars too.
Mm-hmm. But there's the other catch. one of those other 4 teams have to win.
Huh.
That's what I read. But unless they made a mistake, but definitely for the AFC is correct. Those teams you mentioned. So even if you just put in those teams, if the Raiders got in, like you said, it'll pay pretty well. And then I thought Keenum was playing. They announced Colt McCoy's playing?
Well, that's what I saw. I was thinking it would be Keenum too, but when I looked it up, I saw it was Colt McCoy. Redskins, Week 17, starting QB.
I saw an article and Keenum said, "I'm ready to play football." So
All right, now it does say Keenum.
Yeah, I thought it was Keenum.
It is Keenum. I don't know why it pulled up McCoy earlier when I did this. All right, well, I still got the Redskins losing, but here I'll plug in Keenum stats.
And then the other thing is, I believe Joe Burrow, the LSU quarterback, has some ties with Ohio State. I think you're supposed to go there or something like that. I don't remember.
Okay, I'm not going against Clemson.
No, I dig it. No, I got you.
Yeah.
Just saying.
That could be the narrative that his team wins and advances, and the team that he was going to go to doesn't. So.
Yeah. That's true. All right, Zach, be good, brother.
All right.
Stay healthy.
All right, see you, man. Thanks.
All
right, hold on. I don't know why it said McCoy earlier. Let me fix it. Okay. Keenum is, let's see, it's regular season overall. All right, Keenum is 28 and 35 and 13 and 19 away. So he can stay on the 13 wins. Funny how that works out. And what about his regular season stats? Has he ever been in the playoffs? I think he has. Keenum is 27 and 34. And 13 and 18 away. All right, so all right, and hold on real quick. We got to get his birthday and his splits real quick versus Dallas. He's 0-1 versus Dallas. He hasn't played there. Did I read that right? Yeah, 0-1 versus Dallas. And his birthday, February 17th. $315 days. Okay. All right, well, the stats are in there, so we don't have any misleading information. He can stay on 13 away wins, pick up his 19th loss away in the regular season to conclude the 2019 season. I guess the only thing I could really see going in his favor is picking up his 29th all-time win on the 29th of the month. But again, I can't go against a Dallas 13 riddle. They almost always come through, so Redskins get the 13th loss. I think that's the winner. Okay, Raiders at Broncos. So the Raiders have a chance to get into the playoffs. So the one thing so there's 4 teams that matter again. The Raiders have to win, the Texans have to win, the Ravens have to win, and the Colts have to win. So if you wanted to do a small parlay with that scenario, the Raiders making the miracle playoff berth, it would be a nice payout. It would be a big bone for the Raiders in their last year in Oakland after getting punked in their last game at home, giving up the big lead. But again, outside of that narrative, if the Raiders aren't supposed to be in the Super Bowl, them losing could make a lot of sense. Both teams, if the Broncos won, let's talk about if the Broncos win. If the Broncos win, they're 7-9, the Raiders are 7-9. 79 is the 22nd prime, Oakland's 22. That could make sense. Last week, what I screwed up with the Raiders and Chargers game We only got 2 games wrong last week, so it wasn't so bad. But what I missed out on is Anthony Lynn, the coach of the Chargers, he picked up his 22nd loss. I'm like, God, how didn't I see that? Ugh. Again, be sure to use your own eyeballs. I bet you somebody was watching last week that didn't call in. Maybe it was talked about in the chat, but I missed it. I caught it after the fact because I went back and looked at it. I was like, what did I get wrong with that game? And I was like, oh, there it is. Lynn got his 22nd loss, that Oakland number. So anyway, if the Broncos win, both teams are 7-9, like 79 the 22nd prime, Oakland 22. If the Broncos win, they get their 53rd win on the 53-date numerology. And let's see. They'd also get their 54th all-time win, year of Super Bowl 54. When you write out week 17, it equals 54. When you write out 100, it equals 54. And if Locke wins, he becomes 4-1. Oakland's 41. Locke is 41. Doesn't that make sense? But at the same time, Denver's 32 and Broncos is 32 as well as 41. So you can really make an argument either way. And if the Broncos did lose, they would be 4-4 at home. Again, when you write out 14, it's 77. But it is week 17, the 7th prime. They get that 7th win. If I didn't know about this outside chance at the Raiders getting into the playoffs, I would like the Broncos here. But there is a part of me that's wondering. I've been thinking all year that maybe they'll let the Raiders slip into the playoffs somehow. So there is a chance. I'd consider it. I'd see what $5 or $10 down on that Raiders parlay pays. I wouldn't put much more on it than that personally, but it's possible, and it could be lucrative if those teams all hit. So let's see here. Derek Carr, the Raiders quarterback, if he lost, he would get his 32nd away loss. Again, Denver and Broncos both 32. That's a big number with the Broncos. And the narrative for him to win would be to get his 16th away win because you got the 53-date numerology, the 16th prime. So you don't really see the numbers with Gruden. I guess if he won, he'd get his 107th regular season win, which kind of looks like 17. I don't really like to do that, but it's about all I can say about his numbers. Denver is 98-53-0 in their building in the regular season. If they did lose this game, they would pick up the 54th loss. Again, could be symbolic. So they can't quite get that 100th win, which is interesting. Caller?
There's one other narrative that I want to make sure that we remember is the 3 teams who need to win, they all lose. And then the Titans still make the playoffs.
The Titans would make the playoffs if they won and the Steelers lost, right?
Yeah, I'm saying if they all lose.
Oh, if everybody loses, the Titans get in that way too.
Yeah.
Right, that's true.
According to the notes, and they can all lose, but the Titans can still get in. And I talked about remember the Titans movie quite a few times when I called in.
Right.
This guy dies.
Right. What's that guy's name again? I forgot his name.
Man, I don't remember.
Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Ugh.
But yeah, that would be something. I could see it happening too. They all lose.
Yeah, he just died recently. It was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Hold on.
And you figure the public doesn't matter.
Herman Boone.
Yeah, that's the guy's name, Boone.
All right, I'm just looking at the numbers again. I remember, okay, so he died on his 52nd day of his age. Herman Boone's 52. Tennessee's 52. And he died December 18th, so he died 11 days before that game. Football number. Yeah, I won't be... It seems like when the Bills are in the playoffs, so are the Titans, so...
Yeah, I think that's something to remember too. I think no matter what, you can always just go Titans, and then you can bet them straight or go you straight, or bet them with like the best other game. Take the Oakland parlay with 4 teams because it pays pretty well, and then take them all losing. That's still going to pay pretty nice because
I don't know if they'd all lose, though, because the Texans, Deshaun Watson's back's hurt. I heard he's not even supposed to play.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Watson's banged up, I guess, so they might rest him. They said they still haven't given you the info. Well, here, let's see if there's an update. But as of about 10 minutes before I started this live stream, they still hadn't confirmed if Watson's playing or not.
I don't know. Zach, I'm liking the Texans to win to get to that 11-5 mark. At 115 for the World Series too.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, Yeah, that's true. Tennessee's 106 though, so.
Got it. Well, we've seen a lot of the Texas teams hit that 11-5 record. The Mavericks did it. The Rockets just did it on the road.
The Redskins didn't do it.
No, they didn't do it.
So.
They didn't. I've noticed with Texas. The Rockets can do it at home if they lose one out of the next two. They got Brooklyn and Denver. They become 11-5.
Right.
But I just wanted to tell you about that one. In case they all lose.
Yeah, that it's possible that if they all lose, that would work out in their favor. So.
Yeah, you figure people are going to bet on the winning aspect, but they forget the other side of the brain if they all lose.
Right. That's true. That is true.
All right, Zach.
All right, appreciate it, man. Thanks.
Yeah, man.
See you. Okay. Yeah, it seems like they want to make this lock guy special. And notice the over-under's right at 41, too. Lock's 41. Oakland's 41. Okay. Cardinals at Rams. So, the Rams are reportedly resting a lot of their starters. Goff's supposed to start, though. And, Rams could get the 44th win. 17 does equal 44. Next loss in the series is 39. Arizona's 39. I wonder if that's got to come in Arizona. Hold on, we got another call here. Caller?
Yeah, Zach, just following up on that Tennessee. I remember they can go 10-6, but I was just thinking, I just looked at the line too. I'm pretty sure Tennessee gets the job done. Do Houston have anything to play? They don't have anything to play for, do they?
Houston's seed is stuck at win or lose.
Right, man. That should tell everybody something. And another thing that can kind of give more people confidence is tomorrow, the 29th, which is the 10th prime. So the 10 could play, and Houston could stay on that 10 wins.
I hear all that. Yeah, 29, the 10th prime, exactly. The only thing is if they want to sneak the Raiders in the playoffs, then the Texans would have to win. So.
Right. Yeah, I think that the clue would be the 29th, 10th prime, and then that 106 with Tennessee Titans. Houston loses and become 10-6 against the Tennessee Titans. I believe that's, when I looked at the line, I'm pretty sure Watson not playing. I'm pretty sure that's a safe play. I wanted to ask you, what I wanted to call you for is, if the Cowboys lose, if the Eagles lose, are they still in the playoffs? Because I know they just beat the Cowboys last week. So if the Eagles loses, don't they own the head-to-head?
What I understand is if the Eagles lose and the Cowboys win, the Cowboys get in.
I got you. Okay. Because the line, -3.5, that's a suspect line. Considering that they got to win tomorrow, you would think. So, yeah, that's what I was thinking about. So if the Cowboys win, Eagles lose, Cowboys in. But if Eagles win, they in, period, right?
Yeah, the Eagles win, they're in. They are in.
That's tricky now. I wonder why that line -3.5. That's real strange, man. I'll tell people to look out for that tomorrow. But yeah, that's all I wanted. I wanted to just see what the tiebreaker was with the Dallas and Cowboys. But I do lean Tennessee Titans tomorrow. I think it's one of the better plays.
If you didn't hear what I said earlier about the Eagles, because I was talking last week how I expected the Eagles to win their last two games, what I overlooked is how if Wentz did lose this week, he would get his 25th loss, and that number plays with the Giants. So that's got me wondering about them. So they might want to sneak the Cowboys in.
Line, like I'm a gambler, so that line it just stands out. That line is, they're not gonna give you nothing that easy tomorrow. I don't see that. But then again, they can lose, and then the Cowboys lose. So it's gonna be some tricky tomorrow. What time do they play at the same time, Zach? Eagles and Cowboys.
Here, let me check. I think actually the Eagles are in the afternoon, And I think they did it that way just so people watch both, because then there'll be engagement for both games.
Oh yeah, that's why I'm pretty sure they had it set up like that. That's why I asked. Yeah, that's a stay away then.
Oh no! I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I'm wrong. Both those games are actually in the second part of the day games.
The second part.
So
Okay.
4:25 your time's what time they start. Both of them actually.
Both of them. Okay. All right. Yep. That's all I wanted. I just wanted to confirm with that Tennessee and let you know about the Eagles. I thought Eagles would, once they beat the Cowboys, I thought it was guaranteed. But now the line telling you might want to hold off. So.
Right.
That's what I'm gonna do. I'll just probably ride with Tennessee tomorrow. And I think the Falcons look good. They just brought back their head coach, even though I don't bet Atlanta, so don't take my word. Anything I'm gonna let my live stream know. Houston and Atlanta, I do not play those teams. But I think a Falcons could get the job done. Like I just said, they just signed Dan Quinn back, and they said they playing for him tomorrow. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they'll be fired up.
I think they look good tomorrow. I like them.
Yep. All right, I'll let you get back to it, Zach.
All right, take care, man. See you.
All right, you too.
Okay. So this Rams-Cardinals game, if the Rams win, they're 5-3 at home. Big Los Angeles number. Los Angeles 53 date numerology. That does stand out. And hold on, we got another call here. Caller?
Hello.
Hello?
Hi. Also, I heard that Ertz isn't playing on the Eagles, like he's hurt.
Oh, okay. That's good information.
And then also, for the 49ers, somebody, like some backup, something with their younger brother got murdered.
Yeah, C.J. Beathard. That was before last week's game with the Rams.
Okay, and then one more thing. I really don't want you to stop doing the live stream. I look forward to your live streams, but I understand.
Well, I'm not planning to stop forever. I just have to finish a couple things. I anticipate. So my goal is in the time I'm gone to help get other people who want to start their daily live streams up and built. And if that doesn't happen, when I come back in 2 months, my book should be done and in print, and I'm hoping it'll sell well. And if that does, then I can hire people and we can take this to the next level. Because ultimately, that's my goal. I don't want to keep grinding and doing all this decoding 24/7, 365 every single day. It's just too much. Plus, my back kills from sitting in the chair. So I'm just trying to figure out a way to get this to the next level and have a team of people. So if I have to help other people build up their own following, or maybe my book sells and then I get a lump sum of cash and I can hire people. So I'm going to take 2 months off to try to get that out and get that finished. Because I was supposed to have it finished a year ago at this time, and I haven't gotten it done because I've just been sitting here decoding sports. So I am going to come back. It's not like I'm going forever. I'll probably be gone for about 2 months from the daily sports decodes, and then we'll get back to it.
You're just really good at it. So even though you're passing on the torch, they're still not you, that's all. But I understand, and I'll be waiting for you to stream again.
Well, I really appreciate that. And I'm still going to be hanging around, doing the decoding and big sports stories and stuff. So it's not like I'm disappearing. It's just I'm not going to do the daily sports decodes until I'm done with the things that need to be done.
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome. All right, take care.
Okay, Happy New Year.
Yeah, you too. Thanks. Yeah, you guys, nothing's changed. It's not like I'm disappearing and running off into the woods. It's just I gotta reevaluate and take care of some things, and all the goals are still the same, Hire a team of people, make it happen, but just keeping the fingers crossed that the book will sell when it's in print. So, okay. But yeah, Zach Ertz is out. She's right about that. So that's a big weapon for the Eagles missing there. Again, we're going to review all the games if you got here late. So Rams, Cardinals. Hey, after the Cardinals just won in Seattle, who says they can't beat the Rams in Los Angeles? But Goff could get his 17th home win in Week 17, so that's something for him. He could also get his 16th home win in the regular season on the 53 date. So 53 date, that's the 16th prime. And what else is it? McVay could get his 16th loss in the regular season, or he could stay on 17 all-time losses. And let's see. It's hard to go against the Los Angeles 53 riddle. That number just comes together so much for Los Angeles. Caller?
Hey, Zach.
Hey.
Hey, on that Raiders game or that bet, a good way to bet them if you're gonna take a shot at them would be to they're 1,000 to 1 to win the Super Bowl. So if you put down $25, you'll have a $25,000 bank that you can bet on the next 3 games.
Okay. Well, I highly doubt they're going to win the Super Bowl, but yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, if you're sitting there with a $25,000 bank, then you could just put down $100 or $200 in the first game of the playoffs. If they lose that, then you could just put down $500 on the next playoff game. If they lose that, you just put down $2,000 on the next playoff game, and you still got $15,000 of a bank if they make it.
Well, that's only if they make it. Otherwise, you're just out all that money.
No, because you're putting the money on the other team.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, my fault. Okay, now I follow the logic. Okay, that's it. That's a good strategy right there. That's interesting.
Yeah, if you put down $25 when they're 1,000 to 1, if they win tomorrow, they've got 4 games. So then you just bet the other team on those 4 games, and if you bet $100 on the first game, if they lose, you get your $100 back, and that'll take care of that 25.
Sure.
That 25.
Sure.
And if they lose that game, then you just put down $400 on the next team, and that would be then you'd make 300.
Right.
And if they win that game, then they're in the Super Bowl.
Right.
And if they're in the Super Bowl and you still got a $15,000 bank,
right,
and you're only down 1,000 or 2, then you'd still have a $23,000 bank against the 2,000 that you'd lose, and then you could just put 12,000 on the other team. And you'll make 12,000 either way.
Sure, that's a very interesting strategy. Yeah, I hear that. That would be something else. All right, appreciate that.
Hey, okay, bye.
All right, take care, man. Yeah, that's an interesting strategy. I mean, Raiders are very unlikely to win the Super Bowl, but I do hear his logic. Okay. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I imagine the Rams finish 5-3 at home, just that Los Angeles number on the 53 day, because you got the date numerology. Usually when the date numerology and the Gematria come together, it's usually the way it goes. But there's no playoff implications here. And I guess there's a chance that Kyler Murray doesn't play too. Murray's questionable, so he's injured. Goff's just supposed to play. Well, I guess a lot of the starters are resting, but Goff's supposed to start. So anyway, it looks a little bit better for the Rams there. What's the spread on that anyway? Hold on. I see when I did this, they didn't have the spread on that one yet. Let's see what it is in real time. Okay, so 6.5 point favorite, huh? So they got to win by a touchdown to cover. Let me just plug this in here. Okay, that's better. The over-under's at 44.5 too, huh? 17-44. Okay, so Eagles at Giants. I was really feeling the Eagles. Well, I liked them a lot last week, and I was thinking they would finish out 9-7, like 97, the 25th prime against the Giants. But I got a little bit gun-shy on this because I saw that Wentz could get his 25th loss. And again, Giants in 25, I mean, that plays a lot. That's the whole reason we liked the Giants to beat the Redskins last week was the 25 thing. He could also get his 17th away loss, which is also a little bit worrisome because it's week 17. So this would be the narrative for how the Cowboys sneak into the playoffs. Eagles lose this game at Giants, and then Cowboys, they beat the Redskins. So notice if the Giants won, they would be 5-11. They'd have that prime number relationship, 5-11. And you know what? There'd actually be a prime number relationship right here, too, because isn't 5 the third prime? I don't even normally talk about 5 the third prime, but yeah, it is. 5 is the third prime. Eagles would fall to 3-5 as well. So, if I I didn't want to be conflicted on this game because I was filling the Eagles all the way based on what I was talking about last week, but it's a mistake to not acknowledge that Wentz can get his 25th loss. Jones, notice Jones though, Daniel Jones, if he loses, he's 3-9 as the New York quarterback. New York and 39. We know how that comes together all the time. That's hard to go against as well. And if Shermer loses, he's 9-23 with the Giants, 23 the 9th prime. If he wins, he stints. I didn't think about that. 29th of the month, 10th prime. Shermer can get 10th win with Giants. So that could be his riddle to pick up the 10th win. Stay on 22 losses because Eagles is 22. But yeah, this game's a little bit dicey. If you like to put together multiple cards, and you get on the sides of both games, this is the type of game where I'd get on both sides of because you got good riddles going both ways. Giants would obviously be the better payout. So this is how the Cowboys would get in the playoffs right here if the Eagles choke. If Wentz does win, he will be 6-1 versus the Giants. Big Philadelphia number 61. If he loses, he's 5-2. That's another number that's related to that team. Of course, they won Super Bowl 52. If Doug Peterson, the coach, wins, he gets his 38th win. That's the other Giants number that plays. Giants is 38. Remember last week's game, the Redskins and the Giants? The 25s and 38s all lined up if the Giants won. That's why they looked good to go last week. So Peterson has a riddle to win. Wentz has a riddle to lose. Again, the overall head-to-head record for the Eagles, 9-7, could make good sense. But, I'm having trouble looking past the Wentz 25 thing. I'll remind you at the beginning of the season, 25 riddle got me with Wentz. You might recall at the beginning of the year, I liked him to win week 1 so that in week 2 he could get his 25th win over the Falcons. Falcons 25, and he didn't. The Falcons beat him. So there was one 25 riddle he missed on earlier this year, and Falcons in 25 usually plays. Would he miss another 25 riddle with the Giants? If he does, I'll be wondering what that's all about. So, little dangerous there. Colts are part of the Raiders narrative to get in. Chris called in and reminded us this. Colts need to beat the Jaguars as part of 4 games that need to happen for the Raiders to sneak in. If the Colts did win, they would be 8-8. Again, 19 the 8th prime. The Jaguars would be 5-11, 11 the 5th prime. Whoever loses is either 2-6 away or 2-6 at home. 26 date numerology. Both teams are 5-6 in the conference. Whoever wins will be 6-6. Colts and Jacksonville Jaguars are both 66, so you can make that argument either way. If the Jaguars lost, though, they would fall to 1-5 in the division, like 15. Colts is 15. So that could be the tiebreaker between the conferences. Minshew is questionable. Let me see if we get an update on this. There's a lot of games that aren't confirmed yet for who's starting. Let's see. All right, they're still questionable. Seems like in the NFL, if you're questionable, you usually end up playing. But it could also be part of the narrative that if he's banged up, he doesn't play so well. So Minshew is 5-6. If he did lose, he would get his 7th loss in Week 17. So let me plug that in here. So he can pick up that 7th loss in Week 17. Could also become 6-6. Again, Colts and Jacksonville Jaguars 66. If he lost, he would be 2-4 at home. Colts is 15 in the most pure cipher, but it does have an S in it, so it's also 24. So falling 2-4 at home against the Colts could make sense. Doug Marrone's going to be fired after tomorrow's game, it was announced. So this is Doug Marrone's last game as a coach. And you see how he's on 23 wins with Jacksonville? Again, Jaguars is 23. Another word that is 23 is end. So I'm wondering if maybe he ends his time with Jacksonville on 23 wins. He'd get his 30th loss. Colts is 30. Again, when they announce that they're going to fire you, win or lose, it's like, well, it's not much of a motivator. So I just thought of one more thing. 47, 15th prime. Colts is also 15. If he did lose, he would get his 47th all-time loss. He'd get his 29th loss in the regular season with Jacksonville if he lost on the 29th of the month. And then on the other side, there's nothing that's real clear here. With Brissett, I don't really see anything with his numbers. With the coach, I don't really see anything with him. I suppose he could get his 16th all-time loss on the 53-day. Could stay on 17 wins in week 17 of the regular season, but both of those, I mean, I can't put much stock in either of those. So, Colts would be part of your Raiders parlay ticket, though, if you wanted to do that. And again, I do see the symbolism, though, in being 8-8 to conclude 2019. 19 the 8th prime. So, not crazy about this game, but leaning Colts because of things like this, how the Jaguars can be 1-5 in the division. I guess as I say that, though, I'm like, yeah, but Colts does have the S. It could also be 24. That 15 seems to play more. Again, Minshew getting the 7th loss banged up. Colts wasted the Jaguars a few weeks back. 33-13. That was November 17th. So that was 42 days before this game, or a span of 43 days. If Brissett did win, he would finish 13-19. He'd stay on those 19 losses in 2019. The Colts, the horseshoe, luck symbolism, 13 luck, unlucky, depending on what culture you're in. Okay, Steelers-Ravens. Again, this is another game that could be part of the Raiders' riddle. The Ravens have to win this game for the Raiders to get into the playoffs. And again, the Raiders getting in is a long shot, but we're just reminding what that scenario is. The thing that I really want to see the Ravens win this game, because I've been advocating for the Baltimore-New Orleans Super Bowl. And if Harbaugh wins this game, he'll get his 128th all-time win. He would play. They're the top seed. The Ravens have nothing to play for in this game. They're the top seed, win or lose. But if he gets his 128th win, then that sets up the scenario. You have to win 3 games as the top seed to win the Super Bowl. So he would get his 131st win all-time, winning the Super Bowl. I'm telling you, if Harbaugh wins this game, you're not going to hear me come off the Ravens unless they're eliminated. But they'll be my team to win the Super Bowl if the Ravens win against the Steelers. So that would make a lot of sense. If Harbaugh does win, I will pay in mind that he got his 118th win to conclude the regular season. That's been a big number this year. You might recall before the season began on August 11th, Darryl Drake, the receivers coach for the Steelers, died on August 11th, 118. Could be something to that. But here's the other things in this game. You have 26 date numerology. If the Ravens lost, they'd get their 26th loss to the Steelers. So that's something that can go against them. If they lost, they'd get their 29th loss all-time on the 29th of the month. And let's see. If the Steelers lost this game, they would be 6-6 in the conference. Baltimore Ravens is 66. But it does have an S, so it is also 75. So you can make an argument either way. I usually like it the riddle and the more Pierce cipher, so the 66. And then the Ravens are 9-2 in the conference. This isn't supposed to say the Ravens. It's supposed to say the Raven. Okay, so remember what day the ESPN put out the article, The Year of the Black Quarterback, with Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson shaking hands? If you forget, it was September 3rd. And remember, September 3rd is not an arbitrary date. Black History Month equals 93. And, you know, some of the most famous black Americans, Malcolm X is 93, Martin Luther King Jr. is 93. They only met one time in history, those two men, on a date with 93 numerology. Rosa Louise Macaulay Parks is 93. I always forget the name of the man who advocated for black people moving back to Africa. His name's 93. A lot of black stars are 93. Beyonce Giselle Knowles is 93, and so much more. So it wasn't an accident that they put out that story on September 3rd. The Raven, the poem that the Ravens are named after, equals 93. If they do lose, they're 9-3 in the conference, so that could make some sense. But then again, if they win, they're 10-2, and slavery's 102. And remember, this year in August 20th, 2019, marked the 400-year anniversary of slaves arriving in America, according to the history books. And again, that's Acts 7:6, the prophecy. And that's part of why we had Virginia winning the college basketball championship this year, which happened. So, and I think that's why they called it the year of the black quarterback, because of all of this. The prophecy is that after 400 years, black people, or the slaves, will no longer be mistreated in this foreign land. So, could that be the reason that we see potentially 2 black quarterbacks in the Super Bowl for the first time? And it could happen with, say, the Saints and the Ravens. Drew Brees gets injured. Teddy Bridgewater comes in, who's a Miami product. I mean, it absolutely could happen with those teams. So, anyway, point is, you can make an argument either way for the symbolism of 9-3 or 10-2 in the conference. Underground Railroads 102. They put out the movie about Harriet Tubman this year. And if the Ravens did lose, they'd be 4-2 in the division. Again, we know about 42. So, but still, all that aside, I'm just thinking, okay, Harbaugh wins. He's in the driver's seat to pick up his 131st win in the Super Bowl. And that number just comes to championships so much. If Clemson wins today, you know what I'm going to say about the college championship. Because, again, Dabu Sweeney's going to be able to get his 131st win. His name equals 131. The game's on 13/1. So, RG3 is also playing for the Ravens this week. And, you know, another black quarterback. He could get his 16th win on the 53 date numerology, 53 the 16th prime. And let's see. He could also get his 26th regular season loss on the 26th date. If he wins, his team will be 7-1 at home. African American 71. Again, year of the black quarterback. And let's see. Again, whichever coach loses this game, Harbaugh's on 80 all-time losses, and Tomlin's on 80 all-time losses. Whoever loses picks up 81. Pittsburgh Steelers is 81. And then on the other side, you have 80 date numerology. But, again, if you don't want to play this game and you just want to sit back and watch, again, I'm telling you, Harbaugh wins. That's going to be a real good sign for the Ravens in the Super Bowl. Okay. And, that's one other thing for the Steelers. If they win, they're 9-7, like 97, the 25th prime number, Ravens 25, so you could make that argument. They would be 4-4 away. Can you write out 17? It's got the 44 connection. So, personally, I'm cheering for the Ravens. But as for picking the game, you got decent riddles on both sides, so a little bit dicey. Titans and Texans. Texans have nothing to play for. Their seed cannot move. Titans have a lot to play for, though. So if the Texans lose, and it's possible that Watson doesn't play tomorrow, and when we just looked that up a second ago, some fantasy source was saying to start A.J. McCarron in Week 17, so maybe they have some insider news that Watson's not going to play at all. But if the Texans lost, they would be 10-6. Tennessee's 106. They would fall to 5-3 at home on the 53 date numerology. The Titans would become 5-3 away on the 53 date numerology. So that all stands out. Caller did point out earlier, Houston lost the 115th World Series. If they wanted to do a Super Bowl tribute, what is this? NFL player's son dies? Marvin Jones. The cause of death was not clear. All right, I'll look into this. Oh, hold on. We are talking about a potential upset tomorrow of the Lions. Let's just take a look. Marvin Jones' birthday, March 12th. Oh my God. All right, so this happened on his 293rd day of his age, or at least this news comes on his 293rd day of his age. That's the 62nd prime number. That's the sacrifice number. 293, 62nd prime, sacrifice 62. Oh. Marvin Jones has that 67 connection, blood sacrifice, 19th prime. What's his son's name? Marlowe. Just seeing if any of these numbers fit into the Packers thing that we're looking at. Marlowe's 59. We got 59 date numerology today. Marlowe Jones is 41 and 58 like Green Bay. Or wait, maybe Green Bay. Oh, Green Bay's not 58. Green Bay's just 41. Okay. Again, to me, if there's a big upset tomorrow, it's going to be that Lions over the Packers, and that just makes me wonder more about it. Okay. All right, coming back to this. The Titans have 7 wins at the Texans. They could stay on that in week 17. 17, the 7th prime. It's also 29th of month, 10th prime. If they stayed on the 10 losses at the Texans. They have 17 total losses to the Texans right now. If they won, they would become 19-17 versus the Texans to conclude the 2019 season in week 17. So there's a few different ways to look at that. Tannehill can get his 19th away win, stay on 29 away losses on the 29th of the month. That would even his record up at 49-49. NFL number, NFL's 49. And then Watson, who might not even play, if he did play and he lost, he'd be 13-7 at home all time. Tennessee's 137. If he did play and he lost, he could get his 14th loss in the regular season. Titans 43, the 14th prime, but he could also get his 14th home win. And I see that if he lost, he'd be 13-6 at home. Those are prime numbers. 13, the 6th prime. Watson's 3-1 versus Tennessee. Houston's 31. Houston's also 32, but it's also 41, so they can go either way. McCarron, if McCarron plays, he's 2-2 and 1-1 at home. If he lost, he would be 2-3, like 23. Titans is 83, the 23rd prime. Texans is 83, the 23rd prime. So his record would probably make a little bit more sense with a loss. Hold on, as I say that, though, I'm like, oh, duh. Houston's also 32, so. Anyway, you got riddles going both ways in this game. If O'Brien did win, the Texans coach, he would get his 54th all-time win. And he could end up picking that up in the playoffs as well. So we'll mess around and see if we can figure out what the playoff matchups. If there's a way that I'm going to have to look. If the Texans and Bills play each other in the playoffs, I'm going to have to see how that is. Because Bills have that 54 connection. So if they played each other, that could be the team he could get his 54th all-time win against. If he lost, he would get his 47th all-time loss. Tennessee's 47, but then again, he can get that 54th win. Tennessee Titans is 54. So, what jumps out to me, though, is Tennessee 106. And again, the 53-date numerology. Again, we know how special that number is to the NFL, how both teams could be 5-3. If the Titans win, the Raiders are done for, though. So, if you are doing that Raiders parlay, you would take the Texans in that one. Texans have to win for the Raiders to get in. Let me see something real quick with the Raiders. I forget what season it is for them. Close this. Raiders Pro Football. Are they one of the teams that are in their 60th season? Yeah, they are. They're in the 60th season. Their next win is 499, which is the 95th prime. Okay. All right, and then 49ers at Seahawks. I'm leaning Seahawks here, and one of the main reasons is, again, up here at the top, if the Seahawks win, home teams will be 10-7 on Monday Night Football. I'm gonna copy and paste this here. So they'd also get the 10th win on the 29th of the month, 29 the 10th prime, but they'd be 10-7 and Seattle's 107. Okay, so again, Seattle wins, home teams become 10-7 on Sunday Night Football, Seattle 107. They'd get that 10th win. And let's write that here. 29th of month, 10th prime. Seattle can pick up 10th home win on SNF. And again, this is a riddle that would help out the Saints as well. Assuming the Saints win, they would pass the Seahawks and the Niners in the conference record. Okay, so again, 3 things check out here for the primetime. Seattle can get the 28th home win for primetime. Seattle equals 28. They can get the 10th home win on Sunday Night Football on the 29th of the month, 29 the 10th prime, and they can make home teams 10-7 and Seattle's 107. So all of that looks good for Seattle. Plus, the pattern we've seen going on lately is we just saw Matt Ryan get his 49th career away win in San Francisco against the 49ers. And then we just saw Drew Brees get his 49th home loss to the 49ers. So now Russell Wilson can get his 49th home win against the 49ers. The devil's advocate narrative would be 53 date numerology, 16th prime. And he can get his 16th home loss, but to me that's weak compared to picking up the 49. It'll also be his 87th win, and Seahawks equals 87, so it's symbolic. Remember, Russell Wilson equals 54. Week 17 equals 54. When you write out 100, it equals 54. It's the last game of the 100th NFL season. He can get that 54th home win all time as well. And let's see. Wilson's also 7-0 against San Francisco at home. He can get his 8th straight win at home against San Francisco. And we've seen the streaks of 8. They've been good this year, so he can improve to 8-0 at home over the 49ers. Plus, we got 80 date numerology as well for 8-0. And let's see. My biggest concern about the Seahawks is Carroll's on 100 wins with the Seahawks in the regular season. So if he lost, he'd stay on 100. He'd pick up his 59th loss. 59 is the 17th prime, week 17. So Carroll's the concern. When you do write out week 17, it does equal 134. He could also get his 134th win in the regular season all time. And the other concern I have with Carroll is he could get his 65th all-time loss with the Seahawks. San Francisco 49ers is 65. And wasn't the score of the Rams game last week 34-31, 65 points? Because that number does play with the 49ers. And he's on 109 all-time wins with the Seahawks. And you're at out 17, it's 109. So Carroll, his stuff's a little bit concerning. But, man, we've seen these 49ers playing so well with the quarterbacks. And, again, the primetime records have been great. Just like our last one was Monday. Vikings fell to 9. Vikings made home teams 9-8 on Monday Night Football. Vikings 98 hosted the Super Bowl in the 98th season. And then again, the 52 riddle played in that one. Rodgers became 5-2 away. Minnesota 52. So, despite my concern about Carroll, I'm still leaning Seattle. It's just he's the one big concern. One other thing I need to draw attention to is Seattle equals 44, 17 equals 44, Seahawks 44th season. Seahawks can fall to 4-4 at home or improve to 5-3 on 53 date numerology. And remember last week I was thinking Russell Wilson was finally going to get to break even with the Cardinals at home since he had a losing record against them, improving to 4-4 versus the Cardinals. It didn't happen. He lost. So I guess those are the two things that could go against the Seahawks. Becoming 4-4 at home in their 44th season, and Carroll, his record lines up more with a loss. But again, Russell Wilson makes more sense with a win. Oh, and I forgot to say, Jimmy G with a loss is 20-6, and Seattle and 206 comes together all the time. That's the Seattle area code. I know that one because that's my main phone number, 206. So, there's just been so many 206 riddles we've documented with Seattle sports over the years. This is going to be Shanahan's 48th game coaching the Niners. Seahawks is 48, which is interesting. You can get that 26th loss. Kind of like 206. 26 date numerology. Seahawks have a great record with this ref, by the way. They're 21-5. And let me check some about that real quick. Russell Wilson's 153 as well, 17th triangular number. Make sure we don't have any 216s with the Seahawks. Okay. Yeah, we don't. But yeah, we've seen how the primetime games have been really connected, and following these type of riddles, we've won a lot more than we've lost. There's been a couple that went sideways on us, but I'm thinking the Seahawks are going to pull it off here. Some Week 17 heroics. All right, so let's take it from the top. Let's review real quick. Sometimes we catch something on the second go that we missed the first time. Okay, Jets and Bills. Something I didn't say about the Jets. They could get their 10th loss on the 29th of the month. Again, they would fall to 1-7, like 17 in Week 17. Josh Allen, number 17. Allen, 17. I am leaning Bills here. Let me jot down this thing about the Jets. 29th of month, 10th prime. Jets can pick up 10th loss. Okay. And then Browns and Bengals. Again, Ohio's the 17th state. You got the Battle of Ohio. Bengals can fall to 1-7 at home in Week 17. They'd also get their 15th loss of the season. Ohio 47, the 15th prime. Browns win. They're 3-5. Browns is 35. It's Week 17. 17's the 7th prime. Browns can get the 7th win. Bengals can get the 7th loss. I'm leaning Browns. The upset narrative for the Bengals is 26 date numerology. Browns fall to 2-6 away. Bengals fall to 2-6 at home. But I favor what I just said before that. Mayfield, the concern with him is he could get his 17th loss in Week 17 in the Battle of Ohio. So, again, the notes are all here. Browns win. They're 7-5 in the conference. Another 7 that could go their way. Cincinnati Bengals 75. Packers and Lions. I would do a parlay with your favorite groups this game, your favorite games this week, and the Lions upsetting. You don't have to bet a lot on it. Lions will be a huge multiplier on a parlay with 3 teams that come through, no matter what 3 teams those are. Again, if the Lions win. All right, again, if the Lions win, the Saints win, and the Seahawks win, the Saints are the top seed in the NFC. I want to see that. They don't have to be the top seed to make it to the Super Bowl, but it'll definitely strengthen their odds. So that's what has to happen. The Lions have to win, and the Seahawks have to win, and the Saints. And that could be a parlay if you wanted to put it together. That would pay something nice if that all came through. Because 2 of those teams are the underdog. The Lions are a huge underdog, and the Seahawks are an underdog at home. But, again, the big reason I think the Lions can upset the Packers here is in Aaron Rodgers' stats. He can become 44-44 away. Detroit and Packers are both 44, and he can get his 61st loss in the regular season. Detroit Lions 61. And then the other thing is the quarterback for the Lions, who even though he doesn't have a win yet, he looks pretty good, and he went to Purdue like Drew Brees. So this would be huge for the Saints. Huge for the Saints. Even if, let's just say the 49ers won, and the Packers lost and the Saints won, it would still be good for the Saints because it would boost up their seeding. They'd move past the Packers. So anyway, I think Lions have a great shot at an upset despite being a 12.5-point dog. And if you're not going for the big payout and you want to play it safe, I mean, you can take the Lions with all those points too in case they lose in a closer game than expected. But I think they have a shot here at the upset. Chargers and Chiefs. Again, I've been saying for weeks that I expect the Chiefs to finish 5-3 at home. Los Angeles 53-8 numerology, get the 12th win over Los Angeles. Los Angeles 37, the 12th prime. And as I say that, I want to see what kind of winning streak the Chiefs are on right now. That's something I forgot to look at this week. That is one thing I forgot, to look at everybody's streaks right now. Let's do that real quick. All right, no big streaks there. The Ravens could win their 12th straight. They're playing the Steelers. If you add 1 through 12 together, it's 78. Hold on. Baltimore Ravens. Yeah, never mind. Steelers don't have that connection either. Okay. Let's see. Anything else stand out? Chiefs can win their 6th straight. LA 13, the 6th prime. KC 13 as well. Alrighty. Eagles and Giants are both on winning streaks. Packers have won 4. Panthers can lose their 8th in a row. Well, I'm fully expecting them to lose to the Saints. Okay. I'll jot this down. Chiefs can win 6th straight. LA equals 13, 6th prime. Caller?
Hey, Zach, how's it going?
What's up, man?
Hey, real quick, regarding, did you catch this yet? Like when you write out, was it Baltimore Ravens is 174, and then when you write out like Super Bowl, what is it? Super Bowl 54 is LAV, right?
Yeah, let me write it out. I know it equals 150, whatever the Roman numerals are. Let me see what else it is.
And it's also 174, I do believe, like Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you're right. Yes, it is.
So I wasn't sure if you caught that, but I caught that the other day.
Yeah, that's a great catch. Yeah, good one.
That's all I got, though.
All right, appreciate it, man.
Yep.
The Packers have the 150 connection. Remember that first game against Bart Starr was 150 days before the Super Bowl. I'll have to explore that scenario. Okay. So anyway, I think the Chiefs are going to win it here. The narrative for the upset, and again, I'm going to be surprised if the Chiefs lose this game. The narrative for the upset is that Rivers can get his 124th win. Kansas City, Missouri's 124, and stay on 100 losses in the regular season. So, I mean, it's possible. But, yeah, I see the Chiefs taking care of business here, so pretty big favorite, 9 points. Okay. And then Bears and Vikings one more time. The Chicago Bears 71 riddles have really been hitting, but this game doesn't have any playoff implications here. If the Vikings do win, they're 7-1 at home. It'll be 3 teams 3 weeks in a row that hit the 7-1 mark against the Bears. Or if it's not 3 weeks in a row, it's 3 out of the last 4 weeks. It's one of those two things. So the Vikings again are on 54 losses against the Bears. They could stay there. Their next loss is 55. Minneapolis and Chicago Bears are both 55. If the Vikings did lose and the Bears won, both teams would be 7-5 in the conference. Minnesota Vikings is 75. Again, the Vikings have nothing to play for tomorrow. They're resting up players. So it makes it a little bit dangerous, especially since you got riddles going both ways. But it's just that 71's been hitting, so I don't know. I might just leave this game alone, but again, we've seen that 71 riddle. It's been pretty established here in recent weeks. Chicago Bears 71. And Zimmer, if Zimmer did win, he would get that 59th all-time win, the 17th prime in Week 17. So on the other side, there's not a whole lot that jumps out. Got riddles going both ways. Patriots, I would say, again, I think the Patriots might smash the Dolphins here. Again, I think the score is going to be 35-10. I think the Patriots will score 35. I'll put it that way. Again, the reason I believe that is it's Brady's 149th day of his age. That's the 35th prime. And Tom Brady equals 35. He has 35 birth numerology. QB's 35. Plus, Belichick's going for his 305th win all time. So I haven't seen a Tom Brady 35 score in a minute. I feel like closing out the season with it sounds about right. 35-10 would give you 45 points. New England's 45. And so is Miami. That's what else I forgot to say about that. Miami and New England are both... Whoops, I have a typo here too. Let me fix that so I'm not misleading people. New England and Miami both equal 45. Okay. All right. And then Falcons. I'm taking the Falcons to finish off the Bucks. Again, we talked about this last week. Matt Ryan wins both games. He's 7-9. Bucks lose. They fall to 7-9. Hold on, we got a call here first. Caller?
So Tracy, just on the chat, just reminding us of Mike Vrabel, the Tennessee coach, said that he would chop off his own.
Yep.
For a Super Bowl trophy. So again, got me thinking about the Remember the Titans movie, and also the fact that totally not football related, but this guy named McAfee, with the McAfee virus, said Bitcoin would go up to $100,000, and if it doesn't, he'd chop off his own cock too. So this guy goes on and wins the Super Bowl, just buy a lot of Bitcoin.
Who made the other comment about the Bitcoin?
What the hell is this? McAfee. The guy who has a McAfee virus.
Oh, a McAfee virus, okay.
Yeah, the antivirus thing. I forgot what his first name is. John McAfee, that's his name.
Okay.
Yeah, so something to keep an eye on is if Tennessee actually does win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I put the story up on the screen for people who forgot, so. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, Zach.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks.
Yeah, man.
All right, hold on. We got a text message from somebody who I know is listening. Let me see what he said. Oh, he sent me Jalen Hurts stats. 14 rushes for 43 yards. I'm sure he has more of a thought to that, too. The guy behind him looks like a young Mike Tomlin. All right, anyway. Okay, so Falcons win, Bucks lose. Both teams are 7-9. Tampa Bay 79, getting that 7th win in Week 17. 17 the 7th prime. And then the big one is, again, Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan gets that 109th win. Tampa Bay Buccaneers 109. When you write out 17, it's 109. He stays on 80 regular season losses on the 80 date numerology. So, and if Winston loses, he gets his 42nd career loss. I mean, I just see them doing that in light of what they called this the year of the black quarterback. So, I like the Bucs there. I fully expect the Saints to win. Again, Saints win. Peyton gets his 131st win, that Super Bowl number in the regular season, a great sign going into the playoffs. And Drew Brees' stats make a ton of sense with a win, too. What's up, man?
Yo, I had just tuned in to try to listen to a little of Decode and tuned in to that LSU game. And God, man, Jack, what you've exposed to, I mean, you just see how sick this stuff is. I don't watch that much of it anymore. When I turn it on, they go on this whole spiel about this. I guess he's the offensive coordinator for LSU.
His daughter died in a plane crash today.
His daughter-in-law. Yeah, his daughter-in-law. So it's like, Ted is 34, right? Murder's 34. So is it like, did they really kill this person? Or are these people up there acting? Because it didn't look like the guy was too sad to me after they just won the game. But just how the narrative, how they just got it all planned out. These kids, the opposing quarterback, Jalen Hurts equals 38. He had 38 wins. That was his final game of his career. 14 is the number that represents end. 43 is a 14th prime. I mean, his stats are just perfect for his final game.
And football's 43.
You know, Oklahoma, it's just so sick, all of it.
Indeed.
It makes me wonder, are they really killing these people? Are these people just faking their death? How many of these people, another plane crash, they said it was.
Right, yeah. And the image they put out of her in the news first was her wearing a Saints t-shirt.
Yeah, the Saints look, I don't know how it's not the Saints. You go all the way back to even when 208 days from the Super Bowl, you had the flooding there in Louisiana, and then the Saints equals 208.
And then you had the death of the 100-year-old jazz player. So.
And I think a lot of it goes back to, who was it, Will Smith, too, that Will Smith death. If you go back and look at his death, he died on the 100th day of the year. I mean, how perfect is that?
April 9th, 2016, wasn't it?
That's the 100th day.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Yeah, it would have been.
Yeah, but I wish I could just play that over your live stream when I was just listening to it. Just everybody could just see exactly what I was seeing with that. Just how sick and orchestrated this is, It's like, we know they're doing this, so all these people, are they really killing these people? I mean, who's this character that's coached to for LSU? Who's this guy? He's
He's got that.
I mean, it's just like...
Yeah, he's got that serious accent.
Who are these people, man? And then this kid, they were going to have, it was going to be special for him, this Burroughs kid. I don't even watch college football, but I just see the crap that I deliver in the mail. You just see all that garbage. It's like, oh, they got high hopes for this kid. I mean, he looks like he's 12 years old.
Yeah, he just won the Heisman too, right?
It just is so entirely scripted, even these college games. I don't think that's what people get. I mean, for these kids, the numbers to do exactly like that. Just like you were pointing out that year in the championship game with, who was it, Clemson that year when they threw to that receiver, Renford, how every play, I mean, they had 99 plays. It was just had to be so perfect.
Right, yeah.
For him to catch the last play, and I mean, all of it.
Yeah, it is. It's perfect. It is hard. It's hard to. I don't know how they pull it off, but they do. I mean, we see it every year. So.
One other note, I caught some of your callers. They got from the Vegas that calls in. Yeah, he might be on to something there because I've been following those 17s all year, and it kind of fits into the narrative, about chopping your dick off for a Super Bowl, the whole transgender shit they're shoving down our face. I mean, doesn't that all play into it? What grown man would say that? I mean, we know they're told to say everything, complete puppets, but it fits into their sick narrative,
Right. That's true. That is true. Yeah.
All right, guy. Well, hey, man, it's good hearing your voice again. I just wanted to call in.
All right. Appreciate it, man. Great observations as always.
Look out for them 8 and 8s this week. I see a lot of 8 and 8s.
Yeah, 19 the 8th prime. I can see it. Yeah, I hear that.
All right, brother.
All right, man. Take care.
Bye.
See. Okay, so anyhow, Drew Brees, he has great stats with a win. Sean Payton, great stats with a win, setting him up for the Super Bowl. I'll be sore about that one if it doesn't come through. Again, Cowboys give the Redskins the 13th loss. Dallas 13. We're not getting cute there. Cowboys will be 8-8. And this is the 118th game, by the way, between these teams in Dallas. No. Excuse me. 118th game between these teams in the regular season. Dallas, Texas is 118. I'm just trying to think how that could factor into the other stats. But, yeah, I think Cowboys handle business there. And Raiders and Broncos, I mean, it looks better for the Broncos to win this game. But if they're going to have the Raiders sneak in the playoffs, that's why I'd think about doing that small parlay card. Again, for the Raiders to get in the playoffs, you need all these teams to win. The Raiders have to win. The Texans have to win. The Ravens have to win. And the Colts have to win. Colts, Ravens, Texans, Raiders. All 4 of those teams have to win for the Raiders to get in the playoffs. So if you want to do a small parlay card with that scenario, I wouldn't put a lot on it. you don't have to bet a lot to win a good amount on that one. It's possible, again, just throwing the Raiders that bone because it's their last year in Oakland. Give the fans, one last thing to cheer for. That'd be a memorable ending, right? Because they have like slim to none odds to make it right now. The last time I remember a crazy scenario with the team slipping into the playoffs, it was the AFC West years ago. And it was back in oh God, what was that quarterback's name who he was just such a whiner? And I remember Ed Hockley was the ref, and he made some call and wrote apologies all off season. I forget what it was. It was the Chargers and the Broncos. That's what teams it was, but I can't remember the quarterback's name now. So those were the teams involved in that. But the reason this looks better to me for the Broncos is it just seems like they're making this Lock guy into something. If he wins, he's 4-1. Lock's 41. Oakland's 41. Broncos has the 32 and 41 connection. Denver's also 32, so that'd be the narrative for him to fall to 3-2. But again, the Broncos can also get that 7th win, week 17, the 7th prime. You got the 53-date numerology and the 26-date numerology. Raiders can go 2-6. Broncos 5-3. So again, the stuff that's here looks a little bit better for the Broncos. Carr could also get that 30-second away loss. Denver and Broncos 32. But if the narrative is for the the Raiders to get in the playoffs, then again, that's why that one small parlay might be worth it. Caller?
Yes. What's up, Zach?
What's up, man?
So right now, Drew Brees has 118 losses, right?
Right.
And, Miami Gardens, Florida has Gematria 119, right?
Ah.
Where they're playing the Super Bowl.
Okay.
And I'm thinking if Drew Brees lose to the Panthers, then I think they'll win. But if they win like you say they are, then, he can get his 119th loss at the Super Bowl.
Right. That could make a lot of sense.
Yeah. So if they do win, then, that's pretty much, it's over. So then that means that the Ravens will win. And, Lamar Jackson, when he plays, the Super Bowl is going to be his 25th game. And don't Ravens equal 25?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I just looked at that, and I was like, that's a nip in the bud. I know I called earlier, and I had two, miscues. But,
That's all right, man. You're making good observations. I appreciate it.
All right. But, yeah, that's all I had.
All right. Good work. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Peace.
See. Okay. So, yeah, that is true. So, I'm telling you, if the Saints don't win tomorrow, I'm going to think that they're not the Super Bowl team just because what would be the meaning of Peyton not getting the 131st win? We know what that number is for championships. Championship and Super Bowl are both 131. So he better get that tomorrow. Otherwise, I'm going to be all kinds of concerned. All right. Okay, where were we? Rams and Cardinals. Again, Rams are supposed to rest a lot of starters tomorrow. Kyler Murray might not play. If you want to do this game, to me, the best thing to go with is Los Angeles and 53 comes through a lot. Rams getting to 5-3 at home. Plus, you got the 53-date numerology. So, that's what I would do if I was going to play that game. And Goff would also get his 16th home win on the 53 date, 53 the 16th prime. Could get his 17th all-time home win on the 17 date. I could see them not playing Murray so that his stats stay 5-9-1 in this season that they're calling the year of the black quarterback. Because, Negro's 59. Maybe he doesn't play tomorrow. They still haven't confirmed. And again, if you listened to me last week, I was big on the Eagles winning last week and this week. I've cooled off a little bit on them winning this week. They still have the narrative to win, but there was something I overlooked. Again, just one more time. If the Eagles win, they are 9-7, like 97, the 25th prime, Giants 25, and they're into the playoffs. 87th season, Philadelphia Eagles 87. So that's all still there. It's just that Carson Wentz, his stats really concern me. He can get his 25th loss in Giants equals 25, and he can get his 17th away loss in Week 17. What's up, man?
What's up, Zach? I seen something about Antonio Brown practicing with the Saints. They gonna sign him. They just need the league to approve it. So, did you see anything in that?
Well, okay. Do you remember how at the beginning of the year he was accused of rape?
Yeah.
So I talked about that at the beginning of the year because the riddle was.
I remember everything. You think this story could be true, or that's all I was saying because they saying Saints want him, but the NFL gotta see if he's eligible or see will they approve him because he got so many allegations out there and stuff.
Well, I don't know. It's the first I heard of it, so.
Oh yeah, it actually flashed on the TV. On the bottom of ESPN, so that's something they want like everybody to be aware of. Antonio Brown worked out with the Saints, so they just waiting on the NFL to see what's going on with him so they can sign him. And I wanted to say because Saints are already loaded, it seemed like I don't know. I want to know was that a bad look for the Saints or that's even better look for the Saints if they do get him.
Well, remember
they do like the same Antonio Brown, like he just got a rape and then they're gonna put him in the Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
He played a game with the Patriots this year, and it was in Miami, and he played well. That's what I remember.
Right.
So.
Okay. Well, yep. I didn't know if you already heard it. I just wanted to put your 2 cents in because I know they was trying to basically kind of like shame him. They done took him out the league, and now he's up trying to get on the best team in the NFC East. So I was just wondering, is that a good sign for the Saints, or maybe that's kind of like could be a sacrifice sign for the Saints?
Okay, well, it's the update from Sean Payton. It says they're evaluating their options, so it's unclear. But yeah, I have a feeling that if he ended up on the Saints and they're in the Super Bowl, he kind of has the villain narrative. So
I feel you on that. Yeah. So you think it actually it won't be a sacrifice. It actually can help the Saints, right?
Well, I think if Peyton wins this game tomorrow and gets that 131st win, they're going to be in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Winning it though.
I just wanted to put that Antonio Brown out there.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I'm glad you tipped me off to that, but yeah, I'm still leaning on an AFC team winning it just because of the 27 thing. But Saints and the Packers are the only teams I could really see winning it in the NFC. So I'm leaning AFC though. All right. Appreciate it, man.
I'll let you get back to it.
All right. Thanks. Okay, so Wentz can get this 25th loss, which I just hate because that's just such a big Giants number, and that 17th away loss in Week 17. And then you can make sense of his record versus the Giants with a win or a loss. With the win, he's 6-1. Philadelphia 61. With the loss, he's 5-2. The reflection of 25. Think about the whole Super Bowl 52 thing. Doug Peterson, though, if he wins, he gets that 38th win. That's another big number with the Giants, 38. And he'd stay on 26 losses on the 26-date numerology. So the narrative for the Eagles to lose is the Cowboys to get in the playoffs. Eagles lose, Cowboys win, and I don't expect the Cowboys to lose tomorrow. If the Eagles and Cowboys both win, the Cowboys are out and the Eagles are in. So this would be all about the Cowboys getting in. I just noticed one more thing about the Giants. If they lose, they would be 2-6 at home. We know about Philadelphia 101 the 26 prime. So, I mean, my initial thought was that the Eagles would win this game. Usually when I go against my initial thought, I'm mad at myself. But I'm having trouble looking past that 25 there for Wentz if he lost. So, and again, I mean, if he wins, it could be a thing like next year. Maybe next year he picks up his 25th loss against the Giants. You know what I mean? So sometimes it works out that way because it's like, well, why didn't that happen? And then you see, oh, he ended up getting he probably wouldn't play the Falcons next year, but he could play a 25 opponent and get his 25th loss against them next year in the regular season. So And actually, you know what? Eagles equals 32 as well, doesn't it? Yeah. So if he won, he'd get that 32nd win, which could also be symbolic to get his team to the playoffs. Again, if you're the type of person again that mixes up a lot of parlay cards, like I said before, just because both teams have a decent narrative here, I might put together a card with both teams or just lay off it. And then Colts and Jaguars, again, this is a game that is part of the Raiders scenario to get in. The Colts have to win for the Raiders to get in the playoffs. If the Colts win, they're 8-8. Again, 19 the 8th prime. If the Jags lose, they're 5-11 prime numbers. You can make arguments both ways with the conference record. Minshew, you can make an argument for him to win or lose, which is tough. This is Marone's last game with the Jaguars. He's getting fired after the game they announced today. If he loses, he's 23-30 with Jacksonville. Colts is 30. Jaguars is 30. End is 23. It is the end. Caller?
Antonio Brown is from Miami, Florida.
Okay, so yeah, it could make sense for him to play in Miami.
Yeah, I played with the Patriots for only one game in Miami. Had a good game. So it's interesting. Patriots aren't dead yet. We shall see.
Yeah, that was one of our scenarios we talked about at the beginning of the year. Brady, Breeze.
So the black quarterback, what is it, for the MVP, I guess, if that happened? I guess maybe.
I guess that's the way they could do Year of the Black Quarterback. Yeah, if they weren't in a Super Bowl, if they won the MVP. Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, thought I'd bring that up there.
All right, yeah. Good observation.
All right, Zach.
All right, see you, man. Okay, but Doug Marrone, I'm just thinking he knows he's getting fired. Why not go out on a bad note? Gets his 30th loss versus the Colts. So I could see him finishing with 23 all-time wins with Jacksonville. Jaguars does equal 23. I can't make sense of the 24. I can make sense of the 30. So for that reason, I'm leaning Colts in this game. There's nothing real encouraging with the Colts coach, but Doug Marrone's the one that's getting fired tomorrow. At least it's already been announced. Again, best narrative for the Jaguars is Minshew to become 6-6 because Colts is 66 and Jacksonville Jaguars is 66. Okay, and then Steelers and Ravens. Again, for the Raiders to get in, the Ravens have to win. This game's dangerous too because if the Steelers win, they're 9-7, like 97, the 25th prime. Ravens 25. But what I'm really watching for in this game is Harbaugh. Harbaugh wins. I think that is the sign that the Ravens are your Super Bowl champions. Because, again, he wins tomorrow. He gets his 128th all-time win. Sets him up to win 3 more in the postseason, which would be winning the Super Bowl. That'd be his 131st win, the championship number. And, again, both Harbaugh and Tomlin are on 80 all-time losses. You have 80 date numerology. Pittsburgh Steelers is 81, so you can make an argument for either one picking up the 81st loss. And then Titans and Texans, also part of the Raiders narrative. The Texans have to win to help the Raiders have a chance. But I don't know, man. It's just like, are the Titans not going to be there? They got one of the 54 connections. Here, let's actually think about that real quick. Okay, so teams with 54 connections. Bills, they're in. Jets, they're not. So there's 2 of your teams. And let's see. Titans have a chance to be in. They're one of the teams. The Redskins are one of the 54 teams. They're definitely not in. And Saints have the best 54 connections in the league, the quarterback and the city. They're obviously in. I think that's it. That's it for the 54 teams. So one's in. In the NFC, 1 in, 1 out. In the AFC, Russell Wilson's the quarterback with the 54 connection. Talked about that. In the AFC, yeah, I think that's right. There were 5 54 teams. So right now, 2 are in and 2 are out, and 1 has the chance to get in. If 3 were in and 2 were out, NFL's 32. Let me see some about the word playoffs. Playoffs is 100 and 116, huh? Okay. So anyway, Texans winning would be part of the narrative to help the Raiders. If the Texans lose, though, they are 10-6. Tennessee is 106. If the Titans win, again, Texans would fall to 10-6, and both teams would be, the Titans would become 5-3 away. The Texans would become 5-3 at home on the 53-date numerology. And it's unclear if Watson's going to play tomorrow. Again, the Texans, it doesn't matter if they win or lose for them. They're the same seed no matter what. For the Tennessee, the game means everything. They need to win to get in the playoffs. So Tannehill, again, if he wins, he evens up his record at 49-49. Big NFL number. He could stay on 29 away losses on the 29th of the month. He could get his 19th away loss to conclude 2019. There's 66 and 75. So I'm feeling like the Titans are going to be a part of the playoff picture, especially because of the recent death of that coach that coached the high school team from Remember the Titans. But again, that Raiders narrative has some rhyme and reason to it too, so it's tough. Again, I'd play it conservative this week. Last year when we did Week 17, it was awesome because it's like everything lined up. It's not that way this year. I'd really watch some of these scenarios. I think if you see the Saints win and the Ravens win tomorrow, I'd be putting in a future for the Super Bowl if you haven't done so already. If that doesn't happen, we'll reevaluate and talk about it. And this week I plan to do some live streams to talk about NFL throughout the week. So I'll get out notes right at the beginning of the week since I'm not doing other sports right now. Again, I've passed that on to Rod and Victor for the time being. And I've waited for a few of you others to reach out to me. I think like Martin and Kayla and Chris maybe. I'm happy to promote you guys. There's people that have mentioned your names. So I know there's people out there that'd be happy to support you. Anyway, last game, Sunday Night Football. Again, I'm sticking with the Seahawks here. Pete Carroll's the big concern and the Seahawks home record. But I'm sticking with the Seahawks in this one to help out the Saints and because it's right here. Seahawks win. Home teams are 10-7 on Sunday Night Football. Seattle's 107. They'd get the 10th win for home teams on the 29th, 29 the 10th prime. They'd give the 28th win for prime time. Seattle 28. So I like that. That's been really good for us overall. Just following the week-to-week records with the primetime slots. And then, again, just to go over the other things here. You have 26-date numerology. Seahawks can get to 26-16 versus the 49ers on the 26-date numerology. Also, the 53-date numerology, the 16th prime. The argument for them to lose would be to get the 17th loss in Week 17. It's possible. Notice if the Seahawks win, though, they would get that 16th win at home as well. So the 16 can play two ways on the 53 date. And if Wilson wins, again, he'll get his 49th home win in the regular season over the 49ers, like we said before. We just saw Matt Ryan get his 49th away win against the 49ers. We just saw Drew Brees get his 49th home loss against the 49ers. So going to continue that trend here with Wilson picking up the 49th win at home over the Niners. It would be his 87th win in the regular season. Seahawks is 87. And symbolic win. Way to cap off a strong year. He'd get his 54th home win all time. Again, Russell Wilson's 54. Week 17's 54. 100's 54. And he can also get his 8th straight win at home over the 49ers. We've seen a lot of streaks at 8. 19, the 8th prime. Seattle equals 19 as well. He'd be 8-0 on the 80-date numerology. Biggest concern is right here with Pete Carroll. He can get his 59th loss with the Seahawks in Week 17, 59 the 17th prime, and stay on 100 wins. 100th NFL season. And all-time, if he lost, he would get his 65th loss. San Francisco 49ers is 65, and he would stay on 109 all-time wins with the Seahawks. 17 is 109. So Pete Carroll, a little bit concerning. And then Seattle and 17 both equal 44. If the Seahawks lost, they'd fall to 4-4 at home in their 44th season. So, couldn't call it a one-way street, but even despite those concerns, I'm sticking with the Seahawks here. I think it's going to help out the Saints. And I guess one other thing that could go for the 49ers is them getting that 7th away win in Week 17. But, again, this has been really good for us right here. So I think it'll do the trick one more time. And what happened in... I can't remember right now what Sunday Night Football was this past Sunday. I'm just trying to remember who lost. Let's see. Oh, yeah. The Chiefs wasted the Bears and became 7-1 away. Chicago Bears 71. All right. That one didn't fit in with the riddle, but this one did. Vikings made home teams 9-8 with this loss. Vikings equals 98. Okay. What's up, Michael?
Hey, Zach, I don't know if did you catch this yet? That the Seahawks got Marshawn Lynch?
I heard that they were thinking about doing that. They signed him?
They did sign him, yeah. It was a one-year deal. So maybe he fits into the narrative too, I think. Yeah.
To me, that just makes me think of the Saints because he had his most memorable moments the year the Seahawks made the playoffs 7-9, and then they had the Beastquake with their long run against the Saints to knock them out.
Yeah. It was a one-year deal. That's what they reported anyway. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe he fits in that narrative too. Marshawn Lynch.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna check that out. I appreciate it. Good heads up.
All right, Zach.
All right, thanks, man. See you.
Yep.
All right, here. Let's see. Let's just see. April 22nd. His birthday is the 112th day of the year. That's the Super Bowl number. He's got one of the most infamous Super Bowl moments by not getting the handoff. Let's see. So this game's... Oh, look at that. The game's 251 days after his birthday. That's the 54th prime number. 54th prime. So that's interesting. 251 days after his birthday. Again, Russell Wilson's 54. Wilson's going for that 54th home win all time. Okay. What's his name equal? Let's see. Huh. Okay. All right. Well, we've gone over everything twice. What I'm going to do now is I am going to go back and plug in all my picks and write up what teams I like the most, what games I think are the safest, where the risks are like I do each week. So give me about 20 to 30 minutes to finish that. And I always encourage people, if you put in your picks in the morning, and it's probably, I would wait to get some more information on some of these games. Like, we still don't know if Watson's not playing, et cetera, et cetera. I've heard there's a chance that Goff might not play, but then I also saw he's going to start, but maybe not play that long. So you might want to wait on some of these games to get as much information as possible. But there are some games that look like they're lock city. So, and then again, you know what to watch for in some of these games because I think we're going to have our Super Bowl laid out for us if two of them come through like I'm expecting. Take one last call, then we'll wrap it up, and I will finish the notes. Caller?
It would be really funny. So this guy, Marshawn Lynch, comes back and he says unfinished business. How nostalgic would it be if we get Seattle versus New England round 3?
Oh, God. Let's hope not, man. It wouldn't be round 3. It would be round 2, wouldn't it?
Oh, really? I thought,
They only met in Super Bowl 49.
Oh, that's right. I thought they met. I don't know why I thought that. My bad.
Yeah, because Seahawks have played Steelers, Broncos, Patriots, and Super Bowls. I think they're 1 and 2.
1 and 2. That's right. Okay, my bad. Forget about that one then.
All right, but even the rematch, that would be that is a scenario. I think if Seahawks are in the Super Bowl, they'll play Baltimore because once upon a time the Miami Seahawks faulted and became the Baltimore Colts and all that. So
yes, I totally agree. I'm not sold on the Saints. I think I said that, and I've been on record. I don't think it's going to be Saints Ravens because that Popeye story for me was they didn't make it to Miami. I mean, Baltimore's got a lot of coding, but I don't like Baltimore to play New Orleans. I think they'll play Seattle if they're going to make it.
If Peyton wins his 131st win, you better think about liking the Saints. So
yeah, I'll put in the future for it because it's better odds.
Right.
That's for sure. All right, Zach, you have a good one.
All right, take care, man. See you. Yeah, if the Saints lose tomorrow, which I don't think will happen, that would make me think that, okay, maybe the Saints aren't the team. But Peyton getting that 131st win, that's about as good of a sign as you could have to conclude the regular season with that win number and being in the Super Bowl. All right, I'm going to finish these notes right now. And again, they're linked in 2 spots. They're linked in the description for this live stream you're watching, and they are also linked in the post right below it because I posted it a few hours before the live stream. So I will finish that up. If I get any wind of any great news before the games are played, I'll do an update post. And remember, I've passed on the torch to Rod and Martin to do the daily decodes for the time being. And I'm going to take probably about 2 months to finish some things that I definitely need to get done. And then I'll probably get back to the sports decoding. So if I do come back to it, though, I'll probably just do it 5 days a week instead of 7 days a week because it's too much. So, all right, let me check in with the chat real quick. Tracy's a real Seattleite. She's talking about people like me who moved there that weren't born there. I'm from Portland. Let's see. Yeah, Kayla's right about how Tomlin can get the 142nd win, or the Ravens can finish 14-2, which is another thought. Hold on, Victor's phoning in here. What's up, Victor?
Hey, happy holidays, Zach.
Hey, man. Thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. I just wanted to let you know tomorrow's Texas's birthday.
Oh, man. The Houston Texans on Texas's birthday?
Yeah, and I found it funny both Dallas and Houston are home, so I just wanted to let you get that to you.
Yeah. So they could. Oh, wow. So that's a great catch right there, and that's why you guys got to sign up with Victor. Yeah, that could be the. That could be.
Also, because I heard you talking about that 28, Zach, and it made the 107. That's the 28 fine. And then I forgot exactly what you were saying about the 28, but I just heard you mention it, so I figured I should call in because Texas is the 28th state.
Huh. Okay. Well, that would be the big birthday present for Texas is if the Eagles lost to the Giants.
Yeah, I'm still doing my work right now, but I wanted to get that to you, and also tell you happy holidays, Zach.
All right, appreciate it, man. Keep up the great work.
All right, have a good night.
Take care, Victor. See you, man. Here, okay. Just to entertain ourselves, let's see something real quick. Seahawks. I want to see how many games they've played against the Patriots. I would die. Oh, that's not what I want. What in the world? I would die if the Super Bowl was the Patriots and the Seahawks. So the next meeting would be the 18th game. The Seahawks lead 9-8 over the Patriots. Oh, actually, it's 9-9 all time because they got that Super Bowl loss. 9-9. Here, let's see when the last time they played each other was. November 13th, 2016. Let's see what it is about November 13th. November 13th. Leaves 48 days left in the year. That's the Seahawks number. All right, let's see. November 13th, 2016 to 2/2/2020. 168 weeks. I know that number connects to New York City. Does it have a connection to Boston? Oh, wait, I think it's Massachusetts that's 168. Yeah, Massachusetts is 168. I don't think that has any connection with Seattle. All right. I don't know. That's not super interesting. Unfinished business, though, huh? I'll look more into it. We'll think about it. So. All right, here. Okay, hold on. I'll look up one thing about Marshawn Lynch real quick, too. Let's see how many career games he's played. His next game will be his 149th, the 35th prime. It'll be his 136th start, the 16th triangular number. It'll be his 83rd all-time game with Seattle. Football, 83. 78th game. San Francisco 49ers have the 78 connection. All right. I'll think about it some more. If I come up with anything good, I'll definitely plug it into the notes, so be sure to read those. We'll leave it there for now. For just the people saying that this wouldn't be Seattle's year, remember, Seattle did win. Remember, to say that this isn't Seattle's year, again, they're not my top team, but it's kind of foolish to say that this wouldn't be their year with nothing behind it, because, again, it's 2019. Seattle equals 19. Seattle also equals 44. It's their 44th season. We saw the football team win, or the European football team. What are they? The Sounders. We saw the Sounders, the soccer team, win the championship this year in 19. And the Mariners got off to the best start in baseball, and they were a big part of the riddle for the season. That whole thing with Ichiro and the ritual, that's what told us that the World Series would likely go to Game 7. So, again, Seattle's been, and that's, and in that thought, that could also be the reason the Seahawks aren't the team this year. They've been talking about how Russell Wilson could win the MVP. They could just be part of the narrative for another team that a riddle's running through them. Unfinished business, though, yeah, it does kind of make me think of the Patriots. Ugh, I don't want it to be them. Again, Harbaugh wins tomorrow. Saints win. Pretty sure that's your game. So, all right, we'll leave it there. I'm going to finish the notes. Give me 20, 30 minutes. I should be done. Wouldn't be much longer than that. Maybe you just want to wait an hour and come back. It'll definitely be done. So, and then once all the games are over, I'll do the decode right away for the playoff games. Get those notes out right away, and I'll post them. We'll do some live streams. So we'll do a couple, at least a couple discussions before the games are played this week, just to make sure we got all our information out there. Try to ace the playoffs, and then again for the daily decodes, Rod and Victor. And if anyone else wants to throw their hat in, again, send me that email, gematriaeffectnews@gmail.com. So we'll leave it there. Good luck. Have a great rest of your day, your evening. And until next time.